Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Taberry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. We reportedly have a new defensive coordinator at Ohio State. Going to get some perspective on the hiring of Matt Patricia from Mike Debate. He joins us at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Your emails, a full mailbag of those emails. SNL celebrates 50 years this weekend. We'll take a look at that and the culture impact it had on all of our lives in varying degrees. Paul Finebaum going to drop by as he always does at 10:30. We hit you with a little higher, lower at 11 o'clock. At 11:30, Mike DeCourcy. Haven't talked to Mike yet this year. We'll do a little March Madness look ahead with Mike coming up at 11:30. But you heard right. Matt Patricia coming in, defensive coordinator at Ohio State. I think that Ryan Day, by making the run that they made through December and inevitably winning the national championship, he reached his Teddy KGB stage. And if you have seen the film Rounders, or certainly you've seen GIFs from Rounders if you're too young to have seen it, there is a scene where Mike McD goes back in to get his money from Teddy KGB and to beat him at poker. And Mike McD, played by Matt Damon, says to Teddy KGB, "And don't splash the pot." And Teddy KGB goes, "I will splash the pot whenever the blank I want." And that was about how bad Malkovich's Russian accent was. And that's where Ryan Day is right now. He will splash the pot however he wants. He's earned the right. I was surprised by this hiring. I was surprised of the interview. Not because I don't think Matt Patricia isn't more than capable of doing this. I'm certain that he is. He just hasn't coached in college football for a long time. And I know the notion that college football is more like pro football than ever before, and I've certainly seen the clips of Matt talking on various podcasts over the last couple of years about how now you can switch your roster really quick and all of those things. So he is aware of what that is. Pete Thamel talked a little, or I'm sorry, Albert Breer, rather. Pete Thamel broke the story, Albert Breer, with some perspective on it. He was on with the Juice Bringers this morning in terms of what Matt's been up to. And he tweeted this out yesterday. Matt Patricia spent a lot of time with Bill Belichick last year studying the college game with the acknowledgement that Belichick would probably bring his son Steve with him as defensive coordinator if he took a college job. So instead of North Carolina, Patricia lands with the reigning national champion. So there's the reason for why a lot of the pushback was, well, why is he not hired at North Carolina? Well, that's why, because Bill was getting the band back together with his kids and going to do that way down at North Carolina. I don't know if Matt Patricia will work here or not. None of us do. We don't know. What we do know, though, is that Ryan Day doesn't miss on coordinators very often. In fact, probably the only one, and I don't even know if you can categorize it a miss, was Kerry Combs coming back to be the defensive coordinator. But the pushback I would give on that being a miss was Ryan was so new to the job, and the familiarity that Kerry had not only during his time here but with the state was probably critical. And obviously it didn't work well, and it was something that they moved off of pretty quickly. But Kerry came back here and added stability and gave kind of a sure hand to the whole operation, especially defensively in terms of the recruiting, the state, all of it. So as Ryan was learning on the job, I don't even think they missed on that. But certainly the hiring of Jim Knowles was a home run. The hiring of Chip Kelly was a home run. So I think when you think that, you think about he can do whatever he wants with this roster. He's earned that right. We've talked about that a lot since the winning of the national championship. Like, he has a lot of good things in the bank right now, Ryan Day does. And he can shape this coaching staff, this roster, however he sees fit. And if you think about the promotions of Walton to co-defensive coordinator, Guerreri gets a bump as well. None of this official, by the way, still, which I do think, I'm sure they're still waiting on contracts to get signed, but I thought that by now we would have official. My guess is they're going to do it all in one fell swoop. I just don't have the energy to be overly outraged by it. I don't have the energy to be overly excited by it. This is absolutely a wait-and-see coordinator hire because nobody really knows how this will go in terms of how a guy who has not been in the college game will adjust to the college game. And, yes, it's more like pro football than ever before in terms of roster building and all of that. But one way it's not is you are still dealing with 18 to 23-year-olds. And that's a whole lot different than dealing with grown men.
Yeah, Ryan Day's got an opportunity here, fresh off a national championship, to take some swings that many would consider interesting. I don't know how else to put this hire. When I saw it go official, I am thrilled the names you mentioned that are sticking around with this defensive staff. You know, you have Matt Guerreri, who was a longtime Knowles disciple, so you can keep a lot of the philosophies defensively that Knowles instilled. You hope, I guess, is what I'll say, because you're right, you don't. I hope that that's going to be the case because we've seen how successful the defense has been. It's like he was on like a 2-year historic run of scoring defenses. So it feels to me like it's not broken, the system. Let's not try to fix it or try to remake it in another man's image, especially with the players that you've got coming back who were so used to how things work last year.
That's an interesting one. Real quick, Beck. My guess is when we get a Ryan Day press conference, we'll an answer to that. But Patricia's pretty. I mean, I saw him on the Edelman podcast. He's talking about his defensive philosophy and a Bible and all of this. This does not seem like someone who's coming in here to do a continuation of what has been done previously.
Ooh.
I think I think that word interesting that you used, Reese, is really good in this because I can understand why people are hesitant and have trepidation with this hire because the last time we really saw Matt Patricia, it didn't work out with him as a head coach in Detroit. But a lot of Belichick disciples have not worked out as head coaches for one reason or another, but they're still really good coordinators. Like Josh McDaniels has never worked as a head coach, but he's still a really bright offensive mind, and there's a reason. Obviously, there's familiarity, but there's a reason Mike Vrabel brought him back to New England. If he couldn't coach, he wouldn't be able to do it. Bill O'Brien, it fizzled out for him in Houston, but he's still a really good offensive mind and coordinator. I think this is interesting. You talked about the Edelman podcast, and he was talking about his philosophy, and he wants his defense to be very versatile. He wants to draw up a game plan to stop the other team's quarterback and the other team's offense. So it doesn't sound like he has a super base defense. He's going to change it up based on the opponent that he sees. And one of the things we heard with, obviously, Tim Walton, and I love that he's getting the promotion to co-defensive coordinator, and they're keeping that defensive staff there. I heard somebody, I can't remember who it was, talking about Ryan Day with this. They're bringing Matt Patricia in, not to mess up with these guys and what they're doing with each room, but just to make a defensive game plan for each week that's going to stop the other team.
That would be the best possible way to spin it. But you just don't, what we don't know, and we won't know until Ryan talks, until Matt talks, we won't know if this is, Ryan was big even when Chip came or even when they hired Bill O'Brien, that this is the Ohio State offense. I guess what the question would be is the Ohio State defense the Jim Knowles defense? And now that Matt Patricia comes in, is the Ohio State defense the Matt Patricia defense, or is it Matt Patricia bringing in, Saban always used to say this, and it always struck me as someone who really got it and someone very, very secure. He would like to bring in, I'm going to get the word wrong, but you'll get the intent. When he would have a chance to bring a new coach or a coordinator or position coach, some type of that in, what he would like to do is he would like to bring guys with new dust on them. And what it meant by that was, and you'll get the intent, I don't think that's the exact coin of phrase, but that you'll get the intent. The idea was, give me guys who do not think like me or have been other places. Give me new intellectual property that I can draw from. Maybe I can learn something from you. So there will be some of that for sure with Patricia. He has not coached in college football since 2003. He's a grad assistant at Syracuse. Football's football, for sure. The one thing that will be curious is, can college football players take on as much as pro football players can on a week? I think they probably can, the way that they handle all of it with the classes and all of that stuff too. But that will be the challenge, because you don't want, when you recruit a defense like this one, and this was always Urban's big thing, like, let's not get complicated here. We have better players than them. Let's just play man and see if they can beat us, especially at corner. Like, do you not want this level of athlete, in which 9 out of 10 games you play, you have the better players. Don't want them thinking. You want them playing. Ricky Bobby is not a thinker. Ricky Bobby is a driver. That's what you want them playing. You don't want them thinking about, am I doing the right thing on this? So all of that will be fascinating. How they answer that, I don't know when Ryan will talk. Not obviously Matt and Ryan. There'll be an introductory press conference at some point. That will be a fascinating one, and I'm very curious to know, is this the Matt Patricia defense that you're getting at Ohio State? Or is Matt Patricia bringing parts of his defense to the Ohio State defense? That is going to be a fascinating question. But keeping all those guys and giving them bumps, all of those things are wins. We'll get some more perspective on Matt Patricia and what he could bring to this. Mike DeBate going to join us coming up at 9:30 on that. He was host of Pat's Country and have a very good handle on what Patricia might try to do on the defensive side of things. Coming up next, a monster win for the Buckeye basketball team, truly dominant. Boy, if they could just stack them, and in this case, in terms of stacking them, it would be a big one on Sunday. We will get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Love is in the air at the Schottenstein Center this Friday, February 14th, and Saturday, February 15th. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Wisconsin. Friday night, don't miss Hearts and Hockey as the Buckeyes spread the love on Valentine's Day. Buy your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
I'm Rick Reichert. Fast Start February is when Reichert Ford turns it up. Reichert Ford needs to sell 300 new Fords this month, so we are cutting amazing deals like this. Lease a new 2024 hybrid F-150 for just $599 a month for 36 months, 0 down. Or lease new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months. Also, 0 down. And every new Ford comes with Reichert Ford's exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty. Reichert Ford has new vehicles coming in every day. Hundreds of new Fords arrived just last month alone, and hundreds more are set to arrive right now. So race into Reichert Ford for Fast Start February, the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2024 Ford report for total new retail sales, Cincinnati region, leases on approved credit, no security deposit required, ends 3/1. Come in now, we're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Valentine's Day is a good deal sweeter when you shop at Meijer. This week, select bagged Valentine's Day candy is buy one, get one 50% off. Fresh from Meijer chocolate dipped strawberries are just $9.99. Certified Angus beef New York strip steak is $11.99 a pound. And our floral department is overflowing with beautiful fresh Valentine's Day bouquets and flower arrangements. Count on Meijer to bring more from the heart to Valentine's Day. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store, in the Meijer app, and online at Meijer.com.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Black history is American history. In this Black History Month, the Ohio Education Association is celebrating the many Black Ohioans who have shaped our past and who are paving the way for a brighter future for all of us. I'm OEA President Scott DeMar, and as a high school social studies teacher, I've seen how important it is for our students to receive a full and honest education so they can become better critical thinkers. Join the Ohio Education Association in standing up for our students' freedom to learn.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We will be tracking some snow showers out there today. It's cold with a high of only 35. Sunny heading into your Friday. Friday morning, bundle up as temperatures will be around 15 degrees by Friday afternoon, looking at bright blue skies with a high of 34. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Pretty dominant performance out of Jake Diebler's Buckeye basketball team last night. They improved to 7-7 in the league, 15-10 overall. They should have. Washington's one of the bottom feeders in the league. At the same time, it was one you had to have. We talked about it yesterday. It is a must-win for you, for that Buckeye team to be able to handle it. Here's what I did not have, and I don't know that anybody out there did. I did not have the backcourt combination of Bruce Thornton, Junie Mobley, and Micah Parrish hitting 9 threes. Didn't have that. All on 14 attempts. You go 9 of 14 from 3 out of your backcourt, you're going to win a lot of games. And that's what they did. Just pretty dominant display on that side of things. They went 17 for Thornton, 21 for Mobley, 21 for Parrish. That's getting it after it in a very, very big way. Devin Royal was back. It was nice that he played, but also, only 26 minutes because this one was kind of over from jump. 51-36 at half for the Buckeyes as they took care of Washington in this game. It sets up a monster on Sunday with Michigan. Offensively, it was beautiful. Here's Jake Diebler on the offense and how it was so effective last night.
Thought we shared it well. Thought we played with force. We were able to get to the free throw line more than our opponent, which was a nice change. And we got out in transition. We weren't perfect in our transition attack. Certainly left some points out there, but we got out. We played with good pace. Our pace was good in the half court.
The other thing here is you're going to have to get better because Michigan's here on Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS. Here's Jake Diebler on the improvements he'd like to see between now and the game Sunday against Michigan.
14 turnovers was too much. We've taken some strides lately in taking care of the ball better. Listen, Washington was going to turn us over a little bit, but there are maybe 4 off the top of my head that just were unnecessary and self-inflicted. So that's an area for us. I think rebounding is an area, both sides of the ball, we have to continue to grow in. Our togetherness is there. We are connected, and we did a better job protecting the paint this game. At least it felt that way, and that's another one for us. So those are some specifics that I'd like to see us. Like we haven't gotten to where I don't want to put a limit on where we can go because I just feel like we can keep growing in those areas.
It was kind of surreal last night watching this. Danny Sprinkle, Montana native, the coach at Washington, same age I am. So it was crazy seeing him coach at the shot. That was strange. And then Great Osabar is the kid who started his career at Montana State and was kind of in the middle of 2 teams that made runs in the not made runs, but made the NCAA tournaments in back-to-back years at Montana State. Then he followed Sprinkle to Utah State, and then he's the guy, and I don't mean to. He's the guy that we'll use as the example. Hate to
he's an example.
Bad cat crime, but he's the one who got the highest check of the transfer portal last year to go from Utah State to Washington. The reported number on that was $2 million for that. There's no way of verifying any of this, but it's an example of at a place like Washington, and it can happen anywhere. And you go to an NIL fund and you say, boy, we got to have this guy. We got to have it. And he's been good. He's averaging 16 and 8. He's been good. He was pretty quiet last night, just 8 points and 6 rebounds. But they're 12 and 12 and 3 and 10 in the league. So all of a sudden, if you're one of the NIL folks and you're like, well, we said we had to have this. We spent $2 million on this guy, and we're 3 and 10 in the league. This is the other side of the NIL world, is spending a lot. And again, he individually is having a very nice year for them. But collectively as a team, it's not putting them over the top of anything. They're one of the bottom feeders in the league in Sprinkle's first year there. It's just a cautionary tale of how NIL can go the other way too. And that this isn't a shot at him. People were willing to pay him that. Kentucky was trying to get him. Everyone in the country that had big NIL money was trying to get him. He followed his coach from Montana State to Utah State and eventually to Washington, but it's not getting them results on the court.
That's a bad basketball team.
It is.
And I was worried going into last night because of the season that Osabor's had. They also had the other guy with the rec specs. That's legit size. And it does help for Ohio State that you get 61% of your threes to fall. This is, for me, last night was so enjoyable because it was an opponent that you should have beat soundly, and you did. Yeah. Without having to rely on a Devin Royal save us game. So that, for me, is great momentum-wise going into a game against Michigan, because the Wolverines are also coming off of beating Purdue. So you've got the recipe for Ohio State last night needs to be duplicated Sunday.
Bo, you always like to say act accordingly.
Yeah.
And that's what Ohio State did last night. Are they going to shoot 70% from the field in the first half all the time? Well,
Bradshaw's not making a three.
They're not. And Bradshaw 2 of 2 from the three-point line. Who knows? But it was nice to see Junie Mobley get his stroke back, 5 of 7 last night from behind the arc. It's nice to see what we've seen from Micah Parrish here recently as he has become more of an offensive force. The thing that made me feel the best last night, and Reese, you just talked about it, that with Washington, they've got a couple bigs, and those guys are athletic bigs. It was nice to see the effort you got from Bradshaw and Stewart last night. Stewart had a couple big blocks, some big rebounds. He's got to finish around the rim, though. But it was nice. We have not seen anything from the bigs here recently. It was nice to see them contribute last night, too.
They're, according to Lenardi from a couple of days ago, the Buckeyes on the 9 line right now. That was before the events of last night, so that has a chance to improve. But you're right in the middle of the bubble is where you're at. Right now he has them on the 9 line playing Gonzaga, and then the winner playing Tennessee. And, of course, the NCAA would want to do that to give you a football-basketball rematch. They would absolutely want to do that.
I think Akpara is playing for the Volunteers as well.
Yeah, so they will find those type of matchups if they can. So the one Sunday's big. I hope that you should have a great atmosphere Sunday. You should. It's Michigan. It's at home. It's 1:00. It's CBS. The crowd last night was lacking. Obviously, we knew it would be 8:30 on a Wednesday. Like is what's going to be. We've gone over it a million times, but Sunday at 1:00 should be pretty great.
I may try to get over there Sunday. I mean, Ohio State needs everything they can from the crowd, and I know it's easier to get up for Michigan, 1:00 CBS on a Sunday as compared to Washington, 8:30 last night, but I may try to get over there and watch this one.
And, Bo, you can kind of get your fix rooting against Russia. I think Michigan's leading scorers are Russian. So
there we go.
You want to, cheer on Team USA, who in this case will be the basketball Buckeyes Sunday at 1.
I wonder how Ohioans handled the fact that in Red Dawn, the name of the school's nickname was Wolverines. Like, how'd you handle that if you're my age and you're an Ohio kid and you're rooting for Patrick Swayze and the fellas to take care of business against the mighty Russians who invade?
Focus on the players.
Don't worry about it. They're even
it's not about the back on the front, name on the front.
Yeah, pay attention to the name on the back of the jerseys.
Is this kind of like rooting for a team in blue come March 1st in the shoe when the jackets are there?
I think, that's awkward too, yeah. Four Nations started last night as well. Had a buddy of mine who was really into this thing. Sidney Crosby, it's amazing. Like, when he gets on this stage, like, he just is a total stud, and like Team Canada never loses when he's the captain. And he's obviously maybe not what he was 5 or 6 years ago, but is still just so damn good. And they got a 4-3 win in overtime. It was also announced that the World Cup of Hockey will return in 2028. The NHL and the NHLPA announced it yesterday. The tournament will be held February 2028, jointly organized by the NHL and the NFLPA. Be part of the calendar of international competition that includes the Four Nations Face-Off, which begins Wednesday, 2026 Milano Olympics, and the 2030 French Olympics. Here's what this tells me, and this is kind of strange, but the NHL is punting on All-Star Game. They're going to do it every other year, is what it amounts to, which is good. All-Star games aren't any good, but you just think historically, like when you think about a player's historical relevance, oftentimes you'll say it was a 10-time All-Star, 12-time All-Star. That's not going to be the case anymore.
And to me...
Which is a win, I think, by the way.
To me, the NHL All-Star Game is still one of the ones that's kind of exciting to watch, but the players absolutely love the chance to represent their countries. I think the players they care much more about these tournaments than they do an All-Star game.
I'll tell you this, it speaks to a little bit of the power of the NHLPA, because there isn't an owner on the planet that would rather have their guys playing something like this, which they're going all out, versus an All-Star game where they're kind of just skating around having fun. And they're totally different experiences. Like, you watched the game last night, that's for all the marbles.
It was
like
physical.
They're giving full effort, and you're not going to get that in an All-Star game. You're just going to skate around. So the NHL is saying this is good for our game, even if it's not good for our teams. But I don't know how you could argue that.
Real quick on your Sidney Crosby point, by the way, Canada 26-0 in their last 26 international competitions with Crosby.
He's great. I mean, the cream rises to the top, baby, and that's what he is. Mike DeBate going to join us in 2 minutes. Get his perspective on Matt Patricia. What does he expect him to bring from all of those years in New England here to Columbus? That's in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Beloved former basketball coach and educator Satch Sullinger knows you got to keep moving to stay healthy. But that's not so easy when your aching joints won't cooperate.
We still want to move and we still want to get around and we still want to be active, but we start to deteriorate the moment we quit moving.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments help restore movement in stiff, aching knees, hips, shoulders, and back, using only your natural healing properties to help restore damaged joints. That's a huge positive for Satch.
It's working, and what I really like about it is there's nothing foreign put in my body. Everything that was put in my body has been taken from my body. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I want to live until the day I die.
Get rid of the pain and start moving again. Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus and call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation. 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Again, 208-4544. QC Kinetics.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Thursday edition of the program. Reportedly, Matt Patricia coming here to be the defensive coordinator for Ryan Day at Ohio State. Defensive coordinator in New England for a long time, most famous for that. Mike DeBate joining us, covers the Patriots at Pat's Country and host of Locked on Patriots. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time. Your level of surprise when this was made well, it's still not official, but when this was reported yesterday that Patricia's coming over here, where did this kind of register for you?
Yeah, it definitely surprised me, Bo. I'm not going to lie to you, but it didn't shock me, especially after Bill Belichick now going and taking his talents to the collegiate game and going to be coaching the North Carolina Tar Heels. It seems to be trending in that direction. The style that Belichick and Patricia and the coaches that kind of went under this tree for so long, I think it's going to translate well into the modern college game. So for me, this is a great hire. I think Matt has a wealth of knowledge, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that he can provide to young budding players that are aspiring to greater things in the NFL. But I think it's good for the program in general. I think it's good for all of the members of that roster because there is such a wealth of football knowledge in someone like a Matt Patricia.
It's been around so long under Belichick with New England, and some of those defenses obviously were tremendous. Mike, in terms of the thing that you notice over here is you go, well, I guess I've been in college football since 2003, and certainly college football is more like the NFL than ever before, but you still have to be able to relate and talk to kids 18 to 22 and to be able to inspire them and recruit them and all of those things. I don't know Matt at all. How do you think he will handle that?
I think Matt is going to handle that pretty well. I think his stint coaching the Detroit Lions as the head coach in the NFL is going to serve him extremely well in this regard. One of the knocks on Matt Patricia during that job, and one of the reasons why I believe he struggled, was interpersonal relationships. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but I think there was a great number of lessons to be learned in that regard. Matt has seemed to emerge from that job with a newfound, I believe, ability to communicate. And look, when he came back to New England for his second stint, I had the opportunity to speak with him via Zoom conference a couple of times. And I remember him telling me that one of the things that he loved about coaching was the teaching aspect of it. Mm-hmm. He loved teaching the game. When you teach, you become a coach at that point in order to teach, and being able to work in all facets of the game, offense, defense, special teams, really lights someone like Matt Patricia up. I watched it in Bill Belichick for a number of years, for as ornery and as difficult as he could be at times with the media. And, everybody knows the reputation that Bill had. But when he was teaching the game, you did not see a happier Bill Belichick. I think Matt Patricia has emulated that. And I believe a lot of it has rubbed off in this situation. So I do believe he's going to be much better equipped this time to deal with personalities, especially with those in college. I think he recognizes that it is a younger audience that he's going to be teaching at this point. He's going to need to be, and I believe he will be. I don't think he would have taken the job otherwise.
Mike, one of the boxes that are going to need to be checked here is works well with others. He's going to paratroop into an otherwise established defensive staff, a staff overall that's established. Where does he on that level in terms of collaborating with others?
Matt is a collaborative coach. One thing that I will always give him credit for, especially as a coordinator, when he's deferring to a head coach, he knows that his job is to take a look at the defense as a whole, look at the areas in which he believes it may be deficient, try to make it better, but he's not going to reinvent the wheel when it doesn't need to be reinvented. Matt is an innovative coach. He's a very smart man. We all know his, background and, his studying rocket science back in the day. These are all things that I believe will come into play when he's in a coach's room. But Matt is someone that understands the value of good football. And if there are positions and things in place that he believes can help sustain the type of success you're used to, he's not going to waver from that. I do believe he'll work collaboratively well with the coaches he has in place.
Mike, we don't know. We haven't heard, obviously, nothing official yet, so we'll have a chance to talk to Matt and obviously Ryan. My hunch is that he doesn't take this job unless he is allowed to have full say over what he wants to do defensively. In other words, the Matt Patricia defense. Now, to your point, he'll be collaborative, and if there are things that work, he's not an idiot. He's not going to throw those things out, but he's probably going to run his defense, and we've seen the clips of him having the Bible and all of the things that are inspired that defense are inspired from. What is the Matt Patricia defense? What do you think will be the strengths that he will what are the the critical things that this defense will have to do for him to be satisfied in it? What will their style be?
Well, the common, colloquialism for a Matt Patricia defense is a bend, don't break. You want to be able to give a little bit, wear your opponent out, but you don't want to be able to give up the yardage in the red zone that's going to cause you to give up points. I do look for the red zone to be the area where Matt Patricia is going to put his stamp on this defense. So that's something I would look for right away. You'll see 3-4 looks. That's a staple of any Bill Belichick type of a defense. Mm-hmm. Matt Patricia learned from the best. He's going to incorporate that. So I would be on the lookout for it. But again, if you're looking for someone with innovative concepts, if you're looking for someone to try to, upend what this team has done very well, I think Matt's going to very, very cautiously walk that line. I do agree. I do believe he would love to incorporate everything he believes will be the end-all, be-all of this defense, but I wouldn't say that him taking this job was completely predicated on him having full and total authority. I think that he tried that road once, and I think it was met with some disastrous results. I think he's learned his lesson in that point. So in terms of him putting his stamp on the team, yes, this is his defense. You will see a Matt Patricia defense on the field this season, but I don't think, again, it's going to be at the expense of what has worked so well thus far.
Talking to Mike Debate, Patriots at Patriots Country and host of Locked on Patriots. Incredible stuff on Matt Patricia, Mike. Thank you so much on that. I wanted to ask you about Bill as someone who covered him and is certainly aware of his style, and you mentioned like the grumpy demeanor. That's not the Bill we're seeing now. He's in Dunkin' Donuts commercials. He's got a 24-year-old girlfriend. He's going to parties with rings. I mean, it's all these things. How do you think this is going to work for him at North Carolina?
I think we'll know the answer to that when Bill finally steps on the field and we see the results that he's going to have on the field. I think right now Bill is enjoying himself. He looks like he is. There is always an element of Bill Belichick that enjoyed himself coaching football. It wasn't something that a lot of the public got a chance to see, but being in the unique position of having covered him in New England for a few years, you get a chance to see that side of him every now and then. It's becoming more evident, and it's becoming more prevalent now in the national media, and a lot of people are starting to catch on what a good sense of humor Bill has about himself, and the demeanor that he carries is very similar to the one that you see right now. But ultimately, he is a football coach, and he takes it extremely seriously. I can tell you from those that I've spoke to that are still close to the Belichick camp, succeeding in this position is extremely important to him. So when the chips are down and he's ready to place that bet, he's going to do it with every bit of his might. And to me, that's going to be the ultimate success or failure barometer for Bill Belichick. But it's fun to see him enjoying himself a little bit and kind of breaking the mold when it comes to what the public believes and sees from Bill all the time. But I'm looking forward to seeing the product on the field.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of these houses when these 17-year-olds are saying, yeah, the Tennessee Volunteers are offering me 2.5, and Bill goes, well, how do I know that? And the kid goes, you have to take my word for it. I'd love to hear that. Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I want to ask you was you have one of our guys back, one of your guys too, in Mike Vrabel. What does the hiring of Mike signal to Patriots fans, and what do you make of? And obviously he's got a whole offseason to put a stamp on this thing, but what did it mean to bring him home?
Well, I think in a lot of ways this was inevitable for the New England Patriots, and I mean that in a great way. Mike is going to come in and bring a no-nonsense style of coaching. He's got to bring experience. He's been to AFC Championship games. He's been, in difficult coaching situations, and in my estimation, I think he's coached very well through them. From his time at Ohio State, he's been someone that is consistently the hardest worker on the field, whether he's playing, whether he's coaching. Mike Vrabel will not be outworked, and I think that's the type of mentality that the New England Patriots needed to get back to. So there's a level of excitement here to get Mike back. Obviously, he was a beloved player when he was here. The fans remember the touchdown catches from Tom Brady, but they remember that tenacity that he brought each and every time he put on shoulder pads and was a key cog of this defense for the New England Patriots. So I, for one, can't wait to see what Mike's going to do with this team. I think he's assembled a very good coaching staff. It's going to be, again, the results on the field that are going to determine whether or not this was a successful hire. But there is a level of, I think, calm in Patriots Nation right now, knowing that they have a guy that's been there before, he's done that, and now he needs to put those lessons onto the field to lead his team forward. So, I think in this regard, I think the Patriots made a good hire, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Mike Vrabel, the coach, can do here in Foxborough.
Mike, this was just excellent. Thank you so much for your expertise and sharing with us today. Thank you, pal.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me today.
He's great. I mean, that's some pretty good stuff on Matt Patricia. That's Mike DeBay, covers the Patriots at Pat's Country and host of the Locked On Patriots podcast. We'll reflect on that, and a cultural institution turns 50. That's next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
Ma, the meatloaf!
The Fan.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You'll find low prices on thousands of items. The yellow and red tags mean you'll save big on sparkling ice water, Kroger brand chips, and so much more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Love is in the air at the Schottenstein Center this Friday, February 14th and Saturday, February 15th. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Wisconsin. Friday night, don't miss Hearts and Hockey as the Buckeyes spread the love on Valentine's Day. Buy your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Get President's Day deals all month long at Coughlin Chevrolet, Central Ohio's #1 Chevy dealer. Lease a new 2025 Chevy Trax, only $149 a month. Or a new 2025 Trailblazer, just $169 a month. At all 5 Coughlin Chevy locations and CoughlinChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
36 and 42-month leases, 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over, $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. See dealer for details. Ends 3/3/25.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from Classic 3-Cheese, Pepperoni, or Extreme Meat Pizza. Save big with the $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 3/4/25. See app for full terms.
85% of people will experience foot pain in their lifetime. Long-term remedies are scarce. Good Feet Art Supports from the Good Feet store can help. They are designed to relieve common foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, and they also improve balance and comfort. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. Sundays at 11, it's The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. You're welcome.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Buckeye fans, I hope you heard that. There's no way of knowing if anything's... There's no certainties. You don't know if something's going to hit or not. You trust Ryan Day. You trust his track record. The hire of Matt Patricia came a little bit out of nowhere. You started to get rumblings over the weekend. So it was a little bit of a surprise because I just didn't think it would go that way. I so assumed it would be in-house and that they would do it that way. But when you think about intellect, when you think about experience, and you think about all of those things, Patricia checks all the boxes. Mike Debate, who we had back on in the previous segment, you get that wherever you get your podcasts, or I'm sure we put it up on the social as well. If you missed that, what I would say that was most comforting was the word that Mike was very adamant he was going to collaborate. So when we talk about the Ohio State defense, there will be things that if this works, hey, let's keep doing it. Seems like he's very open-minded to that. So that was very positive for me, fellas.
Yeah, the idea that the red zone is going to be a place of focus that he said, and I'll paraphrase, Mike Patricia wanted to put his stamp on. That's carryover from what Jim Knowles and what the Buckeyes, who were Silver Bullet caliber, were able to do and able to go on that 4-game national championship run. It also, it'll be interesting to see, I think, just what was learned from those experiences by Matt Patricia in Philadelphia, in Detroit, in New England. Because while there's a lot of football and there's a high football IQ, you win with people. Wasn't that what Woody Hayes said? And what was reportedly the downfall for Patricia in some of those situations is interpersonal relationships. So if there's, with that great failure can come great learning. And so if you can put those two together, high football IQ with interpersonal learning and development, this can be successful.
That's what I took from that as well, is he said, we're not going to hide it. There were issues with him and people. And he also said that he thought that he had learned from that. And listen, a lot of times the best experience is failure, and you can learn from that more than you can successes. And if Patricia has done that, this could be a great relationship here with Ohio State.
Saturday Night Live turns 50 this weekend. They're going to do a celebration throughout the weekend. I would describe Saturday Night Live for me as a kid, and I'm a man, I'm 40, as one of the critical pop culture mind shapers of my life. It was the first thing that I remember watching when I was young that I didn't know if I should be watching all of it. It was the first thing that I watched as a kid where I remember thinking, maybe I'm not getting all of these jokes. It was the only night of the week when I was young that I could stay up late was Saturday, and it was only because my mom would watch Saturday Night Live. Loved it. And so I would stay up with her. I usually had to go to bed, but right around Weekend Update I could watch Weekend Update and then go to bed was kind of the way that it worked. When you think about what that show was for so long, man, it's as important as anything from a pop culture perspective. I mean, you think about doing 50 years of this. I do think that they've in the last decade they still have the viral moments, but the cast has gotten so big, and there is kind of an over-reliance on celebrities to play key parts, where in another generation, like you would get Dana Carvey playing, he could play both. He would play George H.W. Bush. Like, you'd find a cast member. You wouldn't have Alec Baldwin playing Trump. So instead of bringing in the celebrities, like, they would find it from the cast. But it's an iconic show, and it's one that was so critical, and the idea that it's still on the air all these years later, and there still are moments that pop. I mean, there's the viral stuff from Nate Bargatze with the George Washington skits the last couple of years, the Domingo skit that went viral at the start of this past season on the Sabrina Carpenter song. So they still have these moments that pop. It's just it's pretty amazing that they've stayed relatively relevant for 5 decades. But there was a time where it was your kind of one view into making fun of people who were famous. And now that's everywhere. But you make fun of they would make fun of politicians, celebrities, all of it. They don't do as much of that anymore. But God, for a while, if you could not wait to see what the cold open was on Saturday Night Live.
My dad and people his age will tell you that Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, those were the best years of Saturday Night Live. I really don't think I've sat down and watched an episode of Saturday Night Live since Chris Farley died. Because, that was the era for me with Farley and Sandler and Dana Carvey and all of those guys. It was so great. But
Will Ferrell for you?
That was a little after my time. Yeah. Now, that's where I like Will Ferrell is like a bit actor type part. I don't really love Will Ferrell as the main guy, but I do love him in some of his Saturday Night Live stuff. But I love seeing the Weekend Update clips that they post all the time. Like, I think one of the funniest things I've ever seen is the Deion Sanders skit that they did last year on Weekend Update. It was phenomenal.
There's a movie that my girlfriend and I sat down and watched. I think it was 2 weeks ago. It's called Saturday Night, and it's on Netflix. And it's a dramatization of SNL's first episode. And a young Lorne Michaels and trying to navigate everything with 30 Rock and NBC and Johnny Carson. And the iconic Bumblebee suit was worn by John Belushi. And I had never really known. I've known the suit, but I had never really seen any of like the Bee Hospital or it was a Bee Court or some of those other ones. And after the movie, so I would recommend the movie because Greg from Succession plays Jim Henson and another character in it because Jim Henson started off, he didn't start off, but he did puppets in their first episode. So we went back on Peacock and watched the first episode of SNL, and comedy's changed because it's pretty wild.
Oh, you can't get away with now what even when I was a kid, what they would do on SNL.
Well, just even like what was considered. I mean, George Carlin hosted the first episode of SNL and just his stand-up and some of the sketches had zero. Everything now is like connected to something. Back then it was just, here's what's funny, so we're going to do this sketch.
Oh, they did. They would, the character creating, you think about a guy like Mike Myers. I mean, how many characters did he create on Saturday Night Live? And then, hits gold with Austin Powers. But like Wayne's World and all that stuff was... that was all. He did Sprockets, and he had something where he's in a hot tub or in a bathtub as a little kid. I mean, there were so many different characters that they would create. Phil Hartman was unbelievable. He's kind of like could play any character ever. Dana Carvey's impressions were incredible from that era. Farley and Ferrell were probably. I mean, Farley was such a comet. Like everything he did was just so damn funny, and Ferrell had that too. I think for a younger generation, probably the best overall cast might have been that one probably about 10 years ago that had like Bill Hader, Jason Sudeikis, Fred Armisen, like that whole group, Kristen Wiig, like 7 of them have made big time things happen off of that. Andy Samberg was on that crew too. That was past my prime, but every once in a while I'd see something that would go viral from that. But I'm incredibly appreciative of it. It was for me, it was the first water cooler show of my life. I remember watching the show in high school or middle school, and then we would talk about what happened on the show Monday at school. Like that's what it was at that time. I watched a bunch of skits last night just because I knew this was coming with NBC, and he found a lot of them to be quite funny. Like Will Ferrell in the hot tub with the meats with Rachel Dratch, like that's undefeated, always wins. So like all that stuff still plays, and he's aware of like the Domingo skit because that one went viral. He's like, Dad, can you do the Domingo one? I'm like, all right, so we did, and like he's well aware of that. But like in terms of sitting down and watching it, I think those days are long gone. But I'll watch it. I'll have it, or I think we're out of town, but I'll definitely have it DVR'd and check it all out. Second hour of the program coming up next. We start it with your emails. Paul Finebaum coming up at 10:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Say yes to Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in-store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Buckeye Country Superfest 2025, Saturday, June 21st, Ohio Stadium. One night only. Headlined by Jelly Roll and Kane Brown.
Yeah, that's how I get.
With special guest Megan Maroney, Treaty Oak Revival, Dasha, Connor Smith. Tickets are on sale now at BuckeyeCountrySuperfest.com.
We can break it in if you know what I mean. Put some miles on it.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Get ready, Columbus. The powerful and reliable 2025 Toyota Tundra SR can be yours for just $349 a month. That's right. Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Drive home in a truck built for adventure, performance, and power, all for an unbeatable price. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Visit Germain Toyota of Columbus today and experience the Tundra for yourself. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
$3,999 down, 39-month lease, plus tax, title, and fees. No security deposit required with approved credit. Offer ends soon. See dealer for details.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for 2 things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When it comes to protecting my family's future, I want a life insurance company that's at the top of their game. That's why I got same-day coverage through Ethos. There was no paperwork, no waiting around, and no medical exam. I just answered a few health questions online, and Ethos set me up with a $3 million policy for about $2 a day. Go to tryethos.com and get it done today. That's TRYETHOS.com. TRYETHOS.com. Sample rates is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Matt Patricia will reportedly be the next defensive coordinator at Ohio State. ESPN's Pete Thamel had it yesterday. Patricia was a former defensive coordinator of the Patriots and had a stint as head coach of the Detroit Lions. Current Ohio State defensive assistant Tim Walton has been promoted to co-defensive coordinator, while Matt Guerrieri will be the Buckeyes' new passing game coordinator. In college hoops, Ohio State beat Washington 93-69 last night at the Shot. Junie Mobley and Micah Parrish led with 21 each. Buckeyes improved to 15-10 overall, 7-7 in conference play. They'll host number 20 Michigan Sunday at 1 o'clock. The 9th-ranked Ohio State women's squad's back at the Shot tonight, hosting Minnesota at 7:30. Maddie Andrews will have the call over on ESPN Columbus at 7:15. And in hockey, Team Canada beat Sweden 4-3 last night in the first game of the Four Nations face-off. Zach Werenski's in action tonight as Team USA battles Finland at 8 p.m. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Thursday edition of the program. Paul Finebaum coming up in about 28 minutes from now. Right now, though, time to hit the mailbag. Hit it, fellas.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more. And you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. Again.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
All right, let's start with Zach. The schedule here is 18-game schedule. Hey, Bo, longtime listener. Obviously, the NFL wants to get to 18 games. Heard you guys talk about that some point last week. How do they make that work with the Super Bowl being on the President's Day weekend? If they add another game, wouldn't the NFLPA push for another bye week, which would add 2 weeks rather than just the 1 week they need? It's a very good question for Zach. I think the answer to it is they will also eliminate one preseason game. So that'll get you your week back. Now, in order to make that work, if you had the second bye week, you also have to then move the season back and have it start on Labor Day, which it's done in the past. Years ago, it used to start Labor Day weekend. And so I think that's kind of probably the way that it gets to inevitably is they will go 18. They will give you the 2 bye weeks. And then the 2 give-backs they'll give to the PA will be 2 bye weeks, and they will give back a preseason game. Now, the one thing about giving back preseason games, those are really – the NFLPA's got to be careful here because they spend so much time worrying about the top of the mountain in the NFL. Those preseason games are kind of the only chances a lot of the guys on the bottom half of the roster have to prove they're NFL players. And you talk to guys around the league now, there's already beef with how do you develop a young quarterback in this NFL that isn't a first-round pick. It's really hard. Why? Because they don't play many games. Like, the Browns would like to see Dorian Thompson-Robinson play 10 games a year. Like, if they ideally they get a deal with the UFL and they can put a guy on loan and he can go play games there. NFL players need to play games. So that's going to be one of the pushback. I think that's how the trade-off will work, though, fellas.
Sounds about right to me. I am someone who has always thought that the preseason games were more important than most for, just like you said there, Bo, guys getting reps. They may not be important for the veteran guys or the more established guys, but guys that are battling, filling out your team. Nothing gets you ready to play like actual playing. That's why I've talked about, I think tackling is so bad everywhere in football right now because we don't tackle growing up anymore and through middle school and high school and peewee and all that. We don't tackle like we used to, and I think that's why tackling is as bad as it is. I think these reps matter.
Yeah, I love the idea of, you already use the same broadcast partners. Like, you're already in bed with all the same people. If you're the UFL/XFL and the NFL, like, guys need more developing than what they get now in college because in college they're getting only they're getting 1-2 seasons of real development. Everything else, they're kind of just sitting around twiddling, not twiddling their thumbs, but not the kind of development that you have gotten in the past.
I think at quarterback especially, like, they really need to find a way to partner with, is it the UFL?
It's the UFL is what they're, it's like XFL and USFL are the divisions.
It's funny because both of those brands independently were better than UFL is on its own. Like, just pick one of those. If either XFL or USFL, both would have worked. But, yeah, I think they do need real partnerships there.
And, Bo, you mentioned quarterbacks. We know that's a very developmental position. Some of the guys that have done good coming into the league, like just this year, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels were guys that were a little bit older, had played a lot of reps. That's one of the things that I think is in Will Howard's favor.
Yeah, you need to play a lot of football is a big part of it. Dylan Gabriel should benefit from that despite some of his limitations physically. Kevin, with this one, the subject is sports mysteries. We stumbled on this because they're going to release all the JFK stuff, I guess. And this was, I can't remember, Tuesday's show maybe. We were talking about what sports mysteries would you like to know the real truth about. This one from Kevin, I'd like to know about the Deflategate and also the Mike Tyson-Buster Douglas fight. Deflategate, I think, is pretty straightforward. Tom Brady liked a ball with less air in it than was legally allowed. And they went to great lengths to try to play with that. They probably didn't think it was that big of a deal or that anybody would test it. But I think that's pretty straightforward. I don't understand I think Buster just beat his ass. I mean, I don't think it's anything more than that. I think Mike, it was in Tokyo. There's all the stories about it. There's a great documentary about it on 30 for 30 about how they, instead of having like the swelling ice packs to put on his eyes, they had ice cubes and condoms and all this crazy stuff. So, like, I think Buster just beat him. I think it's kind of simple. And I don't know that there's any conspiracy at all on that one. This is a good one. Martin, biggest sports mysteries. Did Babe Ruth actually call his shot? If you watch The Sandlot, he did.
What a great movie.
I would imagine. I mean, it's so crazy. Now we live in an age where everything is verifiable and everything is on film.
Yeah, did anybody watch Wilt Chamberlain scored 100? Or is there like the radio call of that somewhere laying around?
No. So, like, yeah, some of those, it's like the great one is like the Cy Young wins. Like, who was there to record all 511? Like, are we sure? Or was it just like, hey, Cy got 3 more wins last week. Okay, fine. Give him the 3. It just seems impossible that someone could win 511 games. Like, what constituted a game? This one from Alan. Biggest conspiracy in my time was the 2000 series between the Lakers and the Portland Trail Blazers. All those mysterious fouls and the Lakers coming back to win after being down so much. Seems like the NBA rigged the game. The Blazers were up and that team was loaded. Sabonis, Rasheed Wallace, Scottie Pippen, the list goes on. The sports conspiracy nobody talks about anymore. Did the NBA not want Pippen to get another championship to have more than Jordan? Heard talk, but there's so much to the game that made no sense and bad calls everywhere. Alan, I think a lot of people would say that is probably same true with Sacramento and the Kings. There was a Game 7 that the Lakers played against them, or maybe a Game 6 it was, where the Lakers seemed to get all the calls. If the Lakers got the calls, and I remember both of these games. I remember the 2000 series as well. The Lakers kind of made a hell of a run in the fourth quarter, that Game 7, and they were very evenly matched. I don't think it had anything to do with Jordan. I think, if anything, it had to do with the Lakers and the ascent of the Lakers. And the Lakers last won a title in 88, so them winning one in 2000 was a really big deal with Shaq and Kobe. That's, I think, if anything, that would be your conspiracy, not necessarily anything to do with Jordan or Pippen. This one from George. The subject is throw-ups. Bootsy had a rough night the other night. He writes, you need to check the flu or norovirus symptoms. It is all around, and you may now be infected and should not be around others for at least 48 hours. If that's the case, no weekend for you. Sad, George. We did, yeah, he's okay. We don't have those things. We did get him checked out. He's doing well. He's home today, but is on the mend, I would say. This one from Doug. He writes, the subject is nuclear. Now, that you guys got to help me with this one. He said, what's with the Sarah Palin pronunciation of nuclear? Love the show. Cheers. How did nuclear? Am I saying nuclear? Aren't I saying nuclear how you say nuclear?
I thought that was a big thing with W. Bush. He said nuclear or nuclear. Nuclear.
How do you say it? How do you guys say it?
Nuclear?
Nuclear,
right?
Yeah. When the way you said that at the end of his email, it sounded like you said he loves the show Cheers.
Can't blame him, but
that's an old reference. I don't know. Does it hold up? Does Cheers hold up?
I actually, I believe, it was probably a couple months ago. I like to put stuff that I don't really care about on when I go to sleep, and I put some old Cheers reruns on. Still pretty good.
Did you find yourself caring about it?
The first couple, yeah, but then I was like, I'm tired now. Let's go to sleep.
Is that an endorsement of it where you put it on and you instantly fell asleep?
No, I just do that a lot with like 2.5 Men or Wedding Crashers or Tommy Boy, movies that I've seen forever. Just something that I know. I already know it, so I don't have to pay attention to it.
I'm putting Wedding Crashers on. I'm watching, so I'm not falling asleep. Like even though I've seen it a billion times, like if that's on, I'm not jumping out of it. Like I'm in. I'm watching.
One of the most quotable movies ever, right?
Yeah, I think I've said this before. I think it's 90. It's right around an hour. It's like 65 minutes. From crab cakes and football to The Painting Was a Gift is perfect. It's about an hour from the time they get there till the time they leave is about as good as it possibly gets. Speaking of good as it gets, you mentioned W there. Farrell as W was perfect. I mean, he just crushed W. Hartman crushed Bill Clinton, too. And then before that, Carvey with HW. He also did Reagan. Who did they have do? Didn't they have Jay Farrow try to do Barack Obama?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah. And then they went Baldwin for Trump, and then they had one of their cast members do Biden, right?
Dana Carvey, I think, did some Biden for a couple episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that's tricky with SNL. Like, if you kind of fall into like Tina Fey did Palin. One email was about me saying Palin, nuclear like Palin. That was pretty damn good. But then they bring Palin on to like make fun of it. Yeah. It's there.
Didn't Dana Carvey do a pretty good Ross Perot back in the day?
He did an unbelievable Ross Perot.
Who did Bob Dole? Because the one skit I remember is
Norm. Picture him.
Norm.
Was it Norm Macdonald?
Was it Norm Macdonald?
Was it? It might have been. I thought there was someone else, but Bob Dole was good.
One of my earliest memories is Bob Dole's Peanut Butter when he was on they put Bob Dole on The Real World.
Oh my God!
It's an incredible skit.
Yeah, it was Norm.
You said Norm Macdonald, and I just thought of him doing Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy. Good. Those skits were great.
It's funny. It's a big hat.
He also crushed Weekend Update during the OJ trial.
Yes, so good.
Like when Don Ohlmeyer's running NBC and says you cannot make fun of OJ. He's a personal friend, and then Norm would just call him a murderer on Weekend Update.
Do you remember when they did the skit of OJ breaking down a play on the telestrator? And it spelled out, I did it.
Yeah. I mean, that type of stuff. I don't know if they do that level of biting stuff now. I don't know. All right, Ryan Day. Uncle Dom caught up with Ryan Day. Give his thoughts on his offensive hires. We'll have some of that for you coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Ohio State Buckeye fans, it's time for the annual Pink Game with Ohio State women's basketball. Join us February 17th at 12 p.m. at the Shot to cheer on the Buckeyes as they take on Iowa in a thrilling matchup. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up, and fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 and get $100 back in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Scotty Vegas here, offering you a sure bet. If you choose Awaken 180, you will succeed. We all did. I dropped my 35 pounds. Austin dropped his 50, and Beam is almost down 52. What's stopping you? A sure bet at awaken180weightloss.com.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Cloudy and dreary out there today, along with a few snow showers, highs in the low 30s. Get ready for a blast of cold air tonight, low 16. Sunny tomorrow, high 34. Heavy downpours on Saturday. We do have flash flood watches that have been issued for southern Ohio. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Of course, Dom Tiberi caught up with Ryan Day. That's what he does. The people can watch it on 10 TV Plus. Dom caught up with Ryan. These are Ryan's first comments in terms of what is happening on the offensive side of the ball. So I know that the first one is what you tell me. Should I play the first one where he's essentially naming Brian the OC, or should we have Dom saying, "So you're announcing Heartline as the OC"? And then him saying it? Like, what's the correct order here?
Oh, I don't even know if we've announced anything yet. I'm sure everything's been out there. We got to figure out when to make official announcements. But I can tell you Brian's going to make a great coordinator, and he's going to call plays.
All right, there you go. So that's the announcing of it. He's calling plays. Here is an expanded version of Coach on Heartline as offensive coordinator.
You talk about sacrifice. Here's a guy who he was named coordinator, and I ended up calling the plays that year. But he grew that year, and then we decided to bring in Chip, and he had to take a step back, but he learned from Chip, and I thought down the stretch he did some of his best work I've seen him as a coach. Some of the passing install, the route concepts, the coaching that was done right there was at a high level, and certainly, Keenan helped him a lot, and Billy helped him a lot, and I was much involved with it, but you could just see him growing as the season went on, his understanding of protections. And because, some guys would say, well, wait a minute, I'm going somewhere else. He didn't name me the coordinator. Well, now he's going to be the coordinator. Now he's going to call plays. And that loyalty and that patience is going to pay off. And I think he's going to be the best coordinator in the country.
There you go. So Brian's going to call him. There's the we talked about that. I mean, the ability to learn from Ryan and learn from Chip the way that he has, and to build towards this role is something that feels like a little bit of a no-brainer. And it's one of the things where Ryan has a trust in Brian now that maybe he didn't a couple of years ago. And so he's earned that. He's earned the right to do it, and he's earned the right to kind of learn on the job a little bit with this one. So that's the way that one's going to shake out. Some other offensive changes happened as well. Here is Ryan on that.
Keenan Bailey is going to be a co-coordinator. He's done an unbelievable job for us. He's recruited at a high level. I think you're going to see our tight ends just continue to grow and play at a high level. You can see G. Scott really make an impact, but that'll continue to grow. Billy Fessler, I was extremely impressed with him in terms of the work he did with Will. If you talk to Will, I think he would agree the impact he made last year was important. And I think he understands what we're doing. He was with us for a few years, went away. Quarterback position, that's a touchy one for me. So, I trust Billy, and I think he's going to do a great job.
The one new face who's coming in here is Tyler Bowen. He comes in and will coach the offensive line. He'll have a big say in the run game. Here's Ryan Day on that hire.
I think he brings a lot to the table. For Brian being a first-time play caller, there's another guy in the room working on the run game who has been a play caller as well. I think that's really important because you look at it from a different lens when you've been a play caller before. He played offensive line. He knows offensive line really well, knows the run game really, really well. I think they're going to mesh really well together. And so we're going to still fill in some of the other support staff in there, but he's very, very talented.
Here's the reality of all of this. These are certainly, if you juxtapose it to a year ago at this time, and you had Jim Knowles, who you went out and found the best defensive coordinator in the country, and you brought him in, and it was year 3 of his system and players having familiarity with it. And then you go out and you initially hire Bill O'Brien, who not only did one of the greatest jobs in the history of college football, the time when he was at Penn State, and folks were literally going on campus and recruiting players on his roster to go somewhere else. Remember that? Silas Redd went in the middle of the season, just transferred and went to USC. The NCAA made it open season on his roster, and he somehow still had a winning record. And that was actually really good with the Texans. And then he gets a job at BC, and you pivot and you hire Chip Kelly, who's one of the most innovative offensive minds in college football the last 25 years, and all that netted you was a national championship. So that staff compared to this one, this is a risky staff. It is. But you can take risk when you've won the ultimate prize. He has promoted someone who's never called plays before to be the play caller and be the offensive coordinator. Now we have all the trust in the world in Brian, and certainly he does too, and he's learned at the foot of 2 people who are incredibly capable. Nevertheless, he's never done it. So that's happening. And then you get the hire of Matt Patricia, who hasn't been in college football since 2003. And you say to yourself, well, the reason that you're able to do this and the reason you're able to take swings like this is because you have the currency of having just won a national championship. You would have to take much more proven quantities or much more proven qualities in coordinators had you not won it. This thing looks very different. This could work. You don't know what's going to work and what's not, but this is very much Ryan saying, I got this. Trust me.
But also if it doesn't, or if it, I guess, takes a little bit more time than you would want to allow, we think that the head coach of the Buckeyes has the wherewithal to pull the cord or pull the rug out from under this, where he would step in and say, no, this isn't going correctly. We're fixing this way, or we're going in a different direction with this. I think with how quickly they moved off, how quickly they changed the offense last season, I think lends to that collaboration being better in year 2. When while Chip Kelly is, a Mensa mind when it comes to football and offensive football, he came in pretty quickly and had to learn a lot of Ohio State things on the fly. But you also had that collaboration and that trust with Ryan Day, with Brian Hartline, who was up and coming as a coordinator. And so you have kind of a carryover from that, guys familiar with Chip Kelly and his offense, guys familiar with this Ohio State offense, and now you do something similar defensively, where you bring up guys who have been in this program, that have worked with Jim Knowles, who've turned this defense around, and then you bring in other ideas that could help. But if don't, you have that kind of quick trigger on all right, we're not doing that.
This might be my greatest sports mystery now that we're talking about that, Bo, and you mentioned it. What would this team have done last year with Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator compared to Chip Kelly? I think that's a fascinating what if. But I think the most interesting hire in all of this so far is Billy Fessler. After hearing the way Will Howard raved about him and the work that he did with Will in that quarterback room last year. He's obviously a guy that they've liked. You heard Ryan say he was here and then he went away for a little bit and they brought him back because they liked him. Now that quarterback room is his, and Ryan mentioned that's something near and dear to his heart. He's not just going to give that to someone that they don't have trust and faith in. And I think it's going to be interesting to see him with Julian Sayin and Lincoln Keenholz, having those guys for being around them for a whole year, now year 2, and then his impact on Tavian St. Clair. It's just really interesting what Will talked about him and how good he was. That's the most interesting hire that I want to see.
I think it's Patricia, and I think the reason it's Patricia is pretty straightforward. For the reasons that you just said about Fessler and the reasons that we just mentioned about Brian having never done this, Ryan can easily and will very easily be able to jump into rooms and redirect if things aren't going the way that he wants offensively. In order to do that, though, he has got to have full trust in what's happening on the defensive side. Complete trust. So in the interview process, Matt Patricia made it very clear to Ryan Day that they see things defensively very similar. Because that's the only way that you make that hire, is this guy speaks a language that I want spoken to my team. I picked on what you did, Bake, in the conversation with Mike Debate earlier in the show about Matt and the collaboration, and also Reese, I think you had the point about bend but don't break. That sounds very much like what the Buckeye defense has been. So to me, Ryan's hiring of Matt Patricia signals I feel very good with Patricia, Walton, Guerreri, Laurinaitis. Those guys running that, they can handle that. They're all going to work together. I'm not going to have to go in there and help because I got a brand new offensive coordinator who's never called plays, and this is where my area of expertise is. And the most critical thing for this football team next season and over the next couple is the development of whoever wins that quarterback room, Julian Sayin, obviously the front runner, of Julian Sayin and then Tavian St. Clair, Lincoln Keenholz. The next 4 to 5 years at quarterback, that's the whole operation. It's the whole thing. They have got to make sure that the standard that they have had at quarterback play here for a long time is upheld, because that's how programs stay relevant, stay at the top of the sport, is to continue to be great at that position. Paul Finebaum in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th, and we have great gift ideas like cards, flowers, desserts, and more. Keep Valentine's Day in full bloom with Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for 2 things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum.
And he joins on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, as he does every single Thursday at this time. Paul, thanks for the time. Yesterday, you had one of our buddies, Ari Wasserman, who we've known around here for 15 years. I mean, now we're having takeoffs here is what's happening. Who won versus a caller? Ari versus a caller. Who won?
Yeah, the judges in the other room gave it to Ari 12-5 and said he covered the spread. You know me, Bo. I'm always for the callers, but it was a mismatch. We had a Georgia fan who was ill-informed trying to take on Ari, and it was a predictable result. But the Georgia fan got in a few licks. He claimed Ari. This is going to be funny to your audience. He claimed Ari was a Ohio State homer.
If they only knew. If he only knew the way Ari is sometimes felt here. I enjoyed it. I've known Ari forever, and so it was cool to see it. And then the other thing about that, though, that I'm curious about it is what he is saying and kind of what the college football playoff has proven over the last 2 years. Is it sinking in at all with your audience and with the folks primarily in the SEC about how the sport has changed and how the 12-team playoff kind of exacerbated that change even more?
I don't think so. Bo would be the operative answer. It was funny because usually the arguments about Alabama, but this was a Georgia fan, and the big complaint was that Indiana didn't belong in there, which is a conversation we've had a few times, SMU. And I don't think any of these conversations really mattered a whole lot. But it was fun, and really I was the reason that it all started. I was in Austin during at halftime of the SMU Penn State game, and I don't tweet a lot, but I just put out a tweet, saying, "Hey, congratulations to the committee. We should all bow our heads at how great they set this thing up." That was the night after the Indiana Notre Dame game, and it looked like we were just on the way to a bunch of blowouts, which, by the way, we were. And Ari, for some reason, was in Columbus and just went ballistic over what I said and wrote this column saying that Paul Finebaum is an existential threat to college football, which it was more the attitude that I was just simply beating the drum for the Bubbas down south. And, of course, by the end of the night, Tennessee had just been ransacked by Ohio State. The argument somewhat really didn't matter anymore.
Is there something from so the audience isn't going to, the fans, no one's going to learn from that. That's kind of where we are now as a society too. Like, you have your opinion, just stick with it. In terms of the programs down there, you had the 4-team playoff last year, no SEC teams in the final. Obviously this year we know how it went. When you talk to folks on those staffs in the Southeastern Conference, what changes, if any, what have they learned from where we are now in the sport that maybe there were mistakes here, this is how we can get it fixed, or is this just an anomaly?
I think they believe it's an anomaly, and during the season, though, the argument was really a lot from Georgia and some others about the schedule, but the problem was by the end of the year, everyone Ole Miss blew that by losing to Kentucky and then to Florida. Alabama blew that theory by just getting destroyed by Oklahoma. So I don't think it really held up very well. There's no question week in, week out, the SEC is far more difficult. But losing to Oklahoma and Kentucky beating Ole Miss at home don't help those arguments. By the end, the SEC really had no arguments whatsoever. And listen, I get accused of beating my chest for the league. I don't agree with that, of course, but to me, I really did feel for a long time Alabama belonged in, and then it was impossible to make that argument. And the Michigan game had nothing to do with it. It was the Oklahoma game that ruined it.
Yeah, that one did. That's one of the more puzzling performances of all last season when you look back on it, the way that they played in Norman that night. I saw a story on ESPN.com that I'm fascinated in because in this new world of college football, it's always a matter of who can activate their money and how effective can they be with it. And I saw this story about Texas Tech and how they spent just $10 million on their portal. That's it. And LSU reportedly spent the most. I don't know how anybody's verifying any of this because it's the only thing you can do is take the words of the kids, and so the whole thing is a gray area. But in terms of schools down there, that if they got organized, and we saw this honestly with SMU, which obviously is not in the Deep South, but is in Dallas, where they got organized and benefited from a down conference and took full advantage. Who in that part of the country, if you look at them now, would you look at and say, boy, that if they get organized, they've got the finances, they've got the right coach. Is there somebody out there we're not talking about? Because I just watched Landman, Texas A&M, apparently oil's a good business. They get a lot of money. Is that something is there a team down there that we're not paying attention to that you think if they got organized, we would have to?
I think it would be Florida, and I'm not sure it's under the current structure with Billy Napier, but you understand, having lived down there, when Florida is extremely dangerous when everyone is aligned, and the evidence is Spurrier 30 years ago and Urban Meyer about 20 years ago, because those are the only times that Florida has really gotten it together, and then they just lift off and are almost unbeatable. But right now, I don't think it's going to happen immediately. I'm still not sure Billy Napier is the answer down there. The real concern everywhere in the SEC is Texas. And that's not telling you anything you don't know, but the money in Texas is different, having gone to Austin 4 or 5 times this year. I think if they can keep Sarkisian and keep this thing going and maybe win a title soon, they will be unstoppable.
Yeah, oil money spends. In terms of we're about a month from spring football, a ways out. And you think about coaches and hot seats and pressure. Where does that reside most in the SEC?
Well, I think another bad season would doom Hugh Freeze. I mean, he has had 2 just disastrous years, and a lot of people are wondering, is he really the coach that beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row in 14 and 15? Clearly, DeBoer has calmed things a little bit by hiring a guy that he hired a year ago and then left. That's Ryan Grubb, who went to the Seahawks and got fired. I'm not sure that's necessarily the answer, but Alabama fans can believe whatever they want. I still think Florida has an enormous pressure. The guy, though, who better watch out, and everybody is now predicting them to be a playoff team, is Brian Kelly, because he opens the season at Clemson. Clemson is going to be a top 10 team. It's the usual suspects on LSU's schedule. Should he fail to make the playoffs, I think he will be gone.
Paul, they've always recruited really well, but they lost a lot of guys on signing day, and I know Michigan was able to swoop in with tech billionaires and sign the quarterback and all of those things, but they reacted in the portal. What is the feeling at LSU in terms of, obviously we know how important all of their sports are there. They do great with baseball and gymnastics and all of it, but what is the sense of real pressure on Kelly?
Well, it's under the surface. The athletic director is all in on him. Scott Woodward, he's the same guy who, by the way, brought Jimbo Fisher into Texas A&M, and then he abandoned that ship as fast as he could and let Ross Bjork fire him, of course. Yeah. And Woodward, was known as the guy who went out and did big game hunting. When he got Kelly, everybody thought that was the great hire. Kelly and Lincoln Riley were hired within 24 hours of each other, and people weren't sure which one. But right now, I'm not sure either club is all that thrilled with their current coach. But the interesting thing is that Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback, I mean, every analyst we have on say he's the best quarterback in the SEC. Though I have not seen it from him yet. Okay, no. Maybe another year he'll turn into the great quarterback that you guys had and everybody else has. But he has a lot to be desired. Other than that, I mean, there are a lot of usual suspects in the league. But I think Kelly is the one because of the high profile nature of LSU.
You spent a lot of time in Birmingham in your life. How would if I went back to when you lived there, let's go back 10, 15, 20 years ago, and I said, Paul, in 2024, 2025 now, the top 2 college basketball teams in the country are going to be Auburn and Alabama. How's that register?
It would be shocking because I used to cover a lot of basketball because Alabama had a pretty good run in the 80s and maybe a flash 15, 20 years ago. But Auburn has had 1 or 2 moments in time. They had Barkley, of course. Never won an NCAA game with Charles Barkley, by the way. I mean, they had a bunch of guys who were impact players. But, I mean, what's happening Saturday is truly one of the most shocking things I have ever seen in my career. And I was in Birmingham last week, and everywhere you go now, Bama fans are saying, hey, we're a basketball school now. I mean, it's comical, but it's also true at the same time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The SEC, the basketball conference, it just means more. Put it on the tagline. It's ready. It's ready. All right, Paul, good stuff, pal, as always.
A pleasure. Thank you, Bo. See you next week.
All right, there he is, Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show on ESPN and the SEC Network, joining on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on the Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. 93-69, Ohio State defeats Washington. At the end of shoot-around, you were preaching and urging physicality and aggressiveness. Did you like what you got in those categories tonight?
Yeah, I did. I thought we did a really good job on the glass. First half, not as good as maybe I felt like we just had a couple possessions there. We weren't as good as we could have been. But, overall, good physicality on the glass, good physicality defensively. I thought we played with force on the offensive end, and I think our field goal percentage was a result of that. Getting to the free throw line was a result of that. So, yeah, I think our guys really delivered in that regard.
Coach, when you look at some of your players that are playing very confidently back-to-back games, Micah Parrish has been on the tear here.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we recruited Micah, we just, we felt like a big reason why he wanted to come to Ohio State was because of the opportunity we talked about for him, and we're really seeing it, right? And listen, it takes time for guys. Like he's coming from a program that played differently than we're playing, and sometimes it can take a little time. But man, I think he's got there. I think he really has this last month, and it's great because we need it. We need it. It makes us dynamic when we have really four guys on any given night that can be explosive scoring.
All right, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
93-69, Ohio State defeats Washington. How about defensively, Jake, your team turning Washington over and taking advantage of those turnovers with points?
Yeah, we want to be aggressive defensively, and part of our scheme defensively is to put teams in a bind and try to create some turnovers. And we actually, I felt like left some opportunities out there when we did get turnovers, but did a much better job converting in the second half. So I thought our aggressiveness was good on the defensive side to get us some easy looks in transition.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Valentine's Day is a good deal sweeter when you shop at Meijer. This week, select bagged Valentine's Day candy is buy one, get one 50% off. Fresh from Meijer chocolate dipped strawberries are just $9.99. Certified Angus beef New York strip steak is $11.99 a pound. And our floral department is overflowing with beautiful fresh Valentine's Day bouquets and flower arrangements. Count on Meijer to bring more from the heart to Valentine's Day. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store, in the Meijer app, and online at Meijer.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing and not a thing on a Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Wednesday, the Barstool Sports podcast Pardon My Take published their interview with Joe Burrow and, well, asked him about keeping the Bengals together, all things pie considered.
Cap's going up. You understand the cap?
I mean, not really, kind of.
Because we don't think that it exists. Way more than we do.
Yeah. Well, definitely some teams seem to make it feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints have just pretended it doesn't exist for a while.
Yeah, and the Eagles are paying everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that seems like the way, whatever they're doing.
Thing or not a thing.
Okay. I'm going to say not a thing. I think this has been his tone throughout. Part of me wonders if Joe... I have to imagine, like, they have communicated with Joe, like, dude, this doesn't work. We can't pay you what we're paying. Like, just cap-wise, it doesn't work. We can't, even if they redo him, they still have to do 40 on Jamar, probably 30 on T, probably close to 30 on Hendrickson, Gesicki. That's 4 dudes, your whole cap. You just can't keep all those guys. I guess you'd have to study, like, what Philly did to keep Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, to keep those guys. The other thing that Philly's a cheat code because they've hit on all their picks. So like when guys walk, they've got guys ready. So that's kind of the other part with them. But no, probably not a thing. We've heard him talk about this. In my head, in the back of my head, I just keep thinking he's got to know that they can't have 5 guys taking up 80% of their cap.
I think it's a thing on a couple levels here. One, it's funny hearing Burrow talk about the cap when he says, no, I don't. I kind of understand it. I don't really understand it, but I kind of understand it. But he's obviously trying to put pressure on management and ownership to get these guys done. The Eagles, we just saw what they did. They won the Super Bowl. They've done it somehow, he says. That seems to be the way. It seems like he keeps putting pressure on management. He really, really wants them to keep this team together, and he's doing, it seems like, everything he can. Now, we'll have to see if he'll put his money where his mouth is and they restructure his contract and whatnot somehow to get this done, but he's just been very consistent with this.
Well, he's got to get his money. So there's like he can't give money back. So even if they convert it to guaranteed money and signing bonuses, which only they would know if they're liquid enough to be able to do so, he's going to get all of his. So like in terms of him doing them a favor, that's long gone. That's done as soon as he agreed to the contract extension.
Speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, defensive lineman Josh Sweat told Jeff McLean of the Philadelphia Inquirer he thought he had a legitimate case for MVP of Super Bowl 59. Quote, I should have had it. I could have had it. It's all good, though. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk says he gave his MVP vote to Sweat along with 2 others who voted. There are 16 total voters for the award. Florio adds the NFL no longer announces the places of the other finishers, so it's unknown whether Sweat finished second. The fan vote had Sweat third behind Cooper DeJean and Jalen Hurts. Thing or not a thing?
Do you know when they give you the ballots to cast your vote as a member of the media for the Super Bowl MVP?
Like the second quarter?
It's not quite that. It's not quite that early, but it is after halftime. And the instructions, the last time I did it, the instructions were have your vote in with at least 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So the first Super Bowl I attended was one where Adam Vinatieri hit a walk-off to beat the Rams. So I don't even know who won Super Bowl MVP that year. That first year, I can't remember it. It was a scramble afterwards. But, like, that last bit of context in the last 5 minutes could go a long way in determining who the MVP was in that one. The other one was Patriots over Eagles. I did not vote in that one because I was down on the field to watch that game. The other two, it was Patriots. It was in Indy, so it was Patriots-Giants. Think about how that game ended, right? And then the last one I went to was 49ers and Baltimore, and same thing. I mean, you got first and goal inside the 5 for the 49ers when Baltimore gets that stop. So NFL Super Bowl MVP is a tricky one.
Are you saying that you went down on the field to watch the actual game rather than stay up in the press box and vote? Therefore, are you calling voters nerds?
I am. No, so the way that we had 2 credentials. My television station had 2 credentials, Reese. So one of them was for in the press box and or the auxiliary press, which is essentially the stands. And then the other one was on the field. And so I took the one... The other person that I worked with, I let them pick, and they wanted to sit and not have to stand the whole game. So, well, I'll go down on the field. So that's how it worked.
I've always thought it was weird how they do that at sporting events where we need this in before the game is actually over, especially in a close game. Obviously, in this Super Bowl we just had, it wouldn't have mattered. But I think that's always interesting. I think this is a little bit of a thing because I don't know if Sweat personally should have got it, but I think this could have been a thing where like that whole defensive line got it because that defensive line was just so daggone dominant.
Well, there was Sweat and one other guy who had multiple sacks, right? Like you could have done 2 of them. There's a Dallas defensive MVP when they won a Super Bowl where it's Randy White and I think another guy. So you could have done something like that.
The Columbus Clippers named Tyler Parsons the team's new president/general manager on Wednesday. Parsons joins the Clippers after serving as general manager of the Durham Bulls for the past 2 seasons. Before Durham, Parsons spent 5 years as the GM of the Lansing Lugnuts, where he was recognized as the 2021 Midwest League Executive of the Year. Parsons will oversee the team's day-to-day operations as Ken Schnocky becomes Clippers president emeritus. Schnocky is the only remaining executive from the creation of the franchise back in 1976. He'll retire after this upcoming season. That'll be his 50th at Huntington Park. The 2025 season begins April 1st as the Clippers host the St. Paul Saints on Dime a Dog Night. Thing or not a thing?
Well, I mean, you're talking about 50 years for Ken. Got to know him a little bit when I used to host the morning sports report. Used to do that a little bit, got to know Ken a little bit then, and it's just been a fixture in Central Ohio sports for what's approaching 5 decades with it. I have no idea if I'm sure he's well vetted and Tyler will do a great job, and I wish him all the success in the world. But Ken's an institution. You're talking about 50 years in Central Ohio from the creation of the franchise, man. That's pretty good. I wonder what is their current uniform lineup. I wonder if they'll do some throwbacks for that 50th season.
It'd be interesting to see. I know they have a bunch of them. They have like a Valeros one that they do. They've got some red. They've got like a camouflage green one. They've got the white. They've got a royal blue jersey that they still have. I mean, they have all kinds of uniforms. That's one of the great things. They got a clean
one right now, really clean. Their standard home and aways are really clean.
I think that's one of the great things about minor league baseball is they do so many things to try to attract people. So you get the different uniforms. And then the names in minor league baseball are so cool. The Lansing Lugnuts, that's awesome. But this is a huge thing because it's going to be weird to think And obviously he got promoted to president emeritus or whatever it was, but it's going to be weird to think that being around that ballpark and Ken Schnocky not there running everything.
I mean, there's a statue of him outside.
There were 2 years
that he ordered.
There were two or 3 years there, I think, from like 2010 to 2013, where I worked on the Clippers TV crew, interned there, and then worked for them. And I mean, Ken was everywhere, and you better have made sure that you had either a Guardians cap on or a Clippers hat, or he would take your hat off and tell you to go get one of those hats, because those were the only ones allowed.
The one that I like is the Circle C with the ship floating through it. I love their uniforms now are really
That's
clean,
the best logo.
But that one is so
That's
good.
my childhood, man.
That's so good. I love that one. That one is spectacular. Final hour of the program up next. We start it with a little higher or lower and a wild trade request rumor. I don't even know how to explain it in regard to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll get to that story as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Rodeo fans, saddle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo. February 15th at Nationwide Arena. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. It's the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, I know you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy that flexibility in one of their fantastic, sharp, reliable vehicles. I'm so confident that Rich and his team can tailor a lease deal that's right for you. Like a 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive, $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
It's a celebration of savings at Giant Eagle. Join us for My Perks Appreciation Days on February 21st and 22nd. You can earn bonus perks on groceries and gas at Giant Eagle, Market District, and Get-Go. Don't miss out on these extra savings opportunities. Visit gianteagle.com/appreciation for details. Make the most of your shopping by earning more free gas and groceries with Giant Eagle and My Perks.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay. Iservay gets GA going slower.
Visit iservay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The basketball Buckeyes are back to 500 in Big Ten play thanks to their 93-69 win over Washington last night at the Shot. 4 Buckeyes scored in double figures, including Aaron Bradshaw, who have 12 points off the bench. Ohio State 7-7 in the Big Ten, 15-10 overall. Buckeyes will host number 20 Michigan Sunday at 1. The Wolverines are the top team in the conference at 11-2. The 9th-ranked Ohio State women's squad's back at the Shot tonight, hosting Minnesota at 7:30. Maddie Andrews will have the call over on ESPN Columbus at 7:15. In hockey, Team USA battles Finland tonight in their Four Nations face-off opener. The puck drops at 8 o'clock. And in college football, Ohio State will name former Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia the new DC of the Buckeyes. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, we'll do this. We'll knock this out right now because I kind of bumbled through that tease. I don't want to have to wait for 20 minutes for it. So there's reporting Ryan Burr, formerly of ESPN, currently does some stuff for BTN, and then does some stuff with golf. He had some reporting. Used to host Sports Center years ago. Had some reporting that the Pittsburgh Steelers had reached out to the Jacksonville Jaguars about the availability of Trevor Lawrence. So it's really important here that we have an understanding of semantics and word usage. It is one thing for an NFL team to reach out to another NFL team who has a new coach and general manager and say, hey, do you like this guy? That's due diligence. The Steelers need a long-term answer at quarterback. Maybe Liam Cohen's not crazy about Trevor Lawrence. Maybe he's not. Who knows? Make the call. It's quite another thing because I've seen 1,000 people say, well, the Browns should do this. I'm sure they have. It's quite another thing to say that Trevor Lawrence is available. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. NFL teams reaching out to another NFL team and saying, hey, is he available, is much similar to, for example, what the Los Angeles Lakers did with the Dallas Mavericks. Hey, is Luka available? Oh, really? Let's keep it quiet. Maybe don't tell anybody about it. Let's keep this secret all the way to the trade deadline. Same thing here. Steelers reaching. I'm sure that they did. I'm sure that every NFL team who has a need at quarterback, and even probably some who you don't perceive do have a need at quarterback, have reached out to Jacksonville and said, hey, new coach, new GM, hasn't really played well, injuries, is he available? So that report can be 100% true. And also the intent of it, or the way that it's being kind of spun as if all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence is available, I don't see any scenario how he would be. There's just the whole point of this was to get him to finally realize his potential with Liam Cohen. There's no scenario where you trade Trevor Lawrence.
No. Cohen did say in his introductory press conference that it was going to be all about Lawrence.
Yeah.
So this could be that, I guess. The fun part of the report is that the Steelers will be trading their 2025 first and second round picks to the Jaguars for Trevor Lawrence.
All right, Reese, so follow me. It's going to take 2 ones to pry Myles Garrett from the Browns, and I understand Myles is better at what he does than Trevor is at what he does, but it's only going to take a 1 and a 2 to get Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, it feels like it might be a little bit more.
I feel like more like 3 ones. I feel like you'd have to, if you were Jacksonville, let's just play the game. If you were Jacksonville and you decided you were going to trade him, would you not do it with Tennessee or Cleveland and pick first or second?
Over what the Steelers would be giving you in
come on,
late first round?
Yeah, come on.
I think if you're Jacksonville, you cross Tennessee off the list, right? Because you don't want to play him twice a year if you're trading him. But yeah, Cleveland would be there. That's the thing about this. A first and a second. There's no way they're doing that doing anything like that for that.
Pittsburgh's at 21.
Be 3 ones. It'd be like the Watson deal. That's what it would be. Yeah, it'd be very similar to that. Now, he hasn't played as well as Watson as an NFL player, but he also doesn't have any of the off-field baggage, and he hasn't been hurt as much. He's been hurt, but not quite as much as Watson was. So there you go on that. Let's play a little higher or lower. Hit it, guys.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
All right, so today's higher or lower comes to us from The Athletic. Speaking of Liam Cohen, what The Athletic did was they polled 10 NFL executives and coaches and had them rank the new coaching hires. So that's Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, Aaron Glenn, Kellen Moore, Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, and Brian Schottenheimer. And so what they did with this was they had them say who was your favorite to your least favorite. So there are 5 new coaching hires in the cycle that I just mentioned. You want me to start at the top with their most favorite or at the bottom with their least favorite?
Let's go top to bottom.
At number 1, pretty universally, was Mike Vrabel. Higher or lower for Mike Vrabel there?
As the best fit. That's what we're judging here, right? Like the best fit for the job or best hire. Yeah, it's an A+. It's perfect. And it was perfect for Mike, too. I think, and he's acknowledged this, I think Mike learned a lot in Cleveland. And you can be critical of how what the Cleveland process has elicited in terms of results. But what they have up there is everybody rowing in the same direction. And that's the thing that Mike learned was that when I get back into the NFL, wherever it's going to be, I need a young quarterback who can go. Okay, you got one, Drake May. I need cap space. Got one. I need supportive ownership. Got it. And what's the other thing that you need? Alignment. So those are the things that the last one is the thing that he learned up in Cleveland. And it's a home run. I think it's probably, for as bad as the end of Belichick was, and obviously tough year with Gerard Mayo last year, I think they're set up. They have like $100 million in cap space. Vrabel is going to be a culture tornado there. And I like Drake May a lot. So, yeah, it's the best situation and the perfect hire, quite honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the fit. Nobody knows the Patriot way. Like Mike Vrabel, having been a player there and played under Belichick. You can also argue that he's the best coach that was hired in this cycle. Now, obviously, Pete Carroll has a Super Bowl and has coached in Super Bowls. But you can argue that Mike Vrabel is the best coach of the 7 that was hired. So I think for sure this is number 1.
Mm-hmm. At number 2, and again, this was The Athletic's NFL executive voting of the 5 head coaching hires in the offseason. Number 1, Mike Vrabel. Number 2, Ben Johnson of the Chicago Bears. Number 3, Pete Carroll of the Las Vegas Raiders. Higher or lower for Carroll at 3?
It's hard for me to see. I think Pete probably should go up a little bit on this. I know he's a little older, and I don't like that fit for him, and I'm guessing his age is why he ended. I mean, I like the fit from him personally. Like, it'd be fun to live in Las Vegas and coach a football team. Like, that wins. But in terms of that roster, it's certainly a mess. But I do think Pete is such an established guy. Hard for me to imagine that he doesn't have success there, some measure of success relatively quickly. Ben Johnson is the guy they have number 2 on this. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Like, hot coordinator guy gets hired a lot. Some of them have been home runs. Others have been complete duds. So I don't know enough about Ben Johnson to know if he can be a leader of men. You have 2 ways you can be a coach in the NFL. There's really only 2, and be successful. You're either leader of men, Braveheart guy, follow me to freedom, or you routinely show schematically that you will put players in the best position to succeed with your plan on the field, and then what that does is that means more money in their pocket. Those are the 2 ways. So my hunch is Ben Johnson is going to be more of the second guy and less of the first. If you're going to be more of the second guy, then you better be elite when it comes schematically. Otherwise, you lose them in a hurry if it starts to get rough.
Pete Carroll has to be number 2 on this list to me because he's a known commodity. The other guys really aren't that known. They haven't been head coaches before. When you look at the Raiders, I think there's 2 things that were glaring needs that the Raiders need. 1 is a quarterback, obviously, and 2 is some structure. Maybe not so much on the field and the players, but through the front office. I think Pete Carroll is a guy, along with Tom Brady, that can help get the ear of Mark Davis and get that kind of stuff done because he has so much experience. So, yeah, I think this may not be a 5-year plan with Pete Carroll there. It's at least good for the next couple of years, I think.
At number 4 on this list, Aaron Glenn of the New York Jets, Kellen Moore of the Saints, Liam Cohen, who we just mentioned, of the Jaguars, and then last, Brian Schottenheimer of the Dallas Cowboys. Higher or lower for Liam Cohen at 4?
So, no clue. I think he's as surprising a hire as Schottenheimer. Like, go look at Liam Cohen. He's a 1-year offensive coordinator at Kentucky, 1-year offensive coordinator with the Rams, although he didn't even call plays. McVay did that. And then 1 year as the offensive coordinator in Tampa. That's it. So the notion that he's got the answers to the test, but it also speaks, look at this list, guys. You remember the thing of you can't hire a coordinator at Ohio State unless they've already done it? You're talking about the NFL. Aaron Glenn, Kellen Moore, Liam Cohen, Brian Schottenheimer, Ben Johnson. 5 of the 7 hires have never been a head coach anywhere. So who knows what works and what doesn't here?
Yeah, to me, it's definitely, and I don't know how I would rank them, Liam Cohen or Schottenheimer. They're almost like a tie to me at the bottom, but they have to both stay down there. Kellen Moore, he's a little more experienced, at least. Aaron Glenn, obviously, he's been around the league for a long time, and those Detroit defenses have been pretty good. So, yeah, to me, I've got to have Cohen and Schottenheimer as a tie down low, and maybe even Schottenheimer a little head just because he has a little more experience.
This is an actual tweet from the New York Jets. Okay? This is a tweet. We have informed Aaron Rodgers that we will be moving in a different direction at quarterback. Is it in Comic Sans? No, it's not. No, thanks for the years. Nothing. Good riddance. It's us. It's not us. It's you. We'll see on down the road. Hope the door doesn't hit you on the way out the door.
They really missed the chance to be like, Mother Ayahuasca has let us know that it is in our best cosmic
really
interest to part ways with Aaron Rodgers this offseason. We wish him the best, but when the mother speaks, you must listen and oblige.
I tell you that I know a guy who did the ayahuasca trip, and he was all excited to do it. It was a guy who used to cut my hair, all excited to do it, and was building up for it for a month, couldn't wait. Then did it, came back, and I'm like, well, what was it like? And he's like, well, I basically got sick for 24 hours straight. And I said, well, God, now that sucks, man. He goes, no, that's what Mother Ayahuasca chose for me. Oh, for God's sakes. Oh, for God's sakes. That's where we're at. All right, we've got a What Now in sports. Lots of big one-off events coming and building to a very big one. Mike DeCourcy coming up on the hoop side of things on college basketball in about 18 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save $90 on select sets of Ford Continental tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends February 15th. See store for details. Love is in the air at the Schottenstein Center this Friday, February 14th and Saturday, February 15th. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Wisconsin. Friday night, don't miss Hearts and Hockey as the Buckeyes spread the love on Valentine's Day. Buy your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
2025 Hondas in stock, fresh off the truck.
Come test drive one during Lindsay Honda's Cash for Clunkers. Up to $2,500 or $3,500 minimum for any trade. Just bring your clunker to Lindsay. 2025 CRVs and Ridgelines, both $299 a month. That's $299 a month or clunker cash going on now.
The lot is full and the deals are on.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmelt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Hoops fans, are you ready to score big and get lucky this March?
What's up? It's T-Bone. I'm here to tell you that Bud Light will be holding mini Hoops challenges at bars and restaurants across town over the next several weeks with one goal in mind.
To send one lucky local winner to Las Vegas where they'll compete for $10,000.
Take your shot at March Madness glory. This week, join Bud Light on 2 different nights. Wednesday, they'll be at Tino's on Dublin Center Drive from 7 to 9, and then on Thursday at Classics Tuttle on Tuttle Crossing Boulevard from 8 to 10.
Both events will have a mini Hoops basketball challenge that'll give you a shot at a Vegas trip and $10,000.
Oh, hey, a fan show where you can be the star. Sundays at 11, it's the new Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Your calls, your tweets, your voicemails, your opinions. You can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Sundays at 11 on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We will be tracking some snow showers out there today. It's cold with a high of only 35. Sunny heading into your Friday. Friday morning, bundle up as temperatures will be around 15 degrees by Friday afternoon, looking at bright blue skies with a high of 34. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie. And once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. A couple of things happening in the sports world. This NFL Combine invites are being made public, so Travis Hunter will attend the NFL Scouting Combine. But this part I did find interesting. He will do so as a corner. So there's been a great deal of kind of conjecture of what he is going to be at the next level. He has made it abundantly clear that he wants to still play both. If you think of Daniel Jeremiah, Mel Kiper, those guys who kind of like set the table for the mock drafts, both of them had him as a wide receiver primarily and then a corner secondarily. I don't think that there's a scenario where he can truly do both the way that he did in college football. I think everybody would acknowledge that. There's certainly more money at receiver right now, but it could be playing a little bit of chess for him versus checkers here, because as we know, there is a flood of receiving talent that goes into the market every year at that position. And what usually happens is when there is a flood of that talent, the price that you pay for that talent starts to go down. Meantime, the stopping of that talent, the price for that, the premium on that continues to go up. So maybe that's the thinking on Hunter trying to go primarily as a corner. But most NFL draft people have him primarily as a wide receiver.
Bo, I feel like everybody that I remember in my lifetime that did both in college, like a Chris Gamble, a Champ Bailey, a Devin Hester, I feel like they came into the league and played defensive back. Now, Hester ended up playing a little more wide receiver, I think, as it went on, and was obviously a great return man. But I feel like all of them always went defensive side of the ball.
They were all in college, though. I mean, if you think about Woodson, he was a corner who returned punts and played 5 snaps a game on offense. Chris Gamble was a little bit. I'll acknowledge
he came as a receiver.
He was a receiver who
and
then
switched.
That would switch over and play, because wasn't he USA Today National Defensive Player of the Year in high school?
That I don't remember. I just remember he came in as a receiver, and like he was doing so good in 7-on-7 drills when they would mess around playing corner that they were like, hey, maybe we should try this, and then it just kind of took off.
Chris is probably he's probably an example of I've never met him. I don't ever see him. I don't know. Does anyone
You don't
know
really hear about him anymore.
No, I haven't heard it, and I'm truly ignorant to it. I don't know where he is or where he's been up to, but when you think about any time that you see a bunch of, former Buckeyes around, Chris is almost never in that mix and was certainly one of the coolest during that era. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody who's ever done what he did. No one's ever tried it, doing that, playing 100+ snaps every game and playing full-time receiver and full-time. Like, no one's done what he's done. So how a team decides to use him will be fascinating. I mentioned the Jets in the tweet. We've informed Aaron Rodgers that he'll be moving in a different direction at quarterback. There is some context to that now. Woody Johnson with a statement that I don't believe a word of, but I'll read it anyway. I personally want to thank Aaron for his time with the New York Jets. His arrival in 2023 was met with unbridled excitement. I'll forever be grateful that he chose to join us and continue his Hall of Fame career. From day one, he embodied all that it meant to be a New York Jet, embraced our fans, immersed himself in our city. That is what I will remember most when I look back at his time here. He will always be welcome, and I wish him only the best in whatever he chooses to do next. They also have a graphic up, thank you, with Rodgers in the all-black Jets jersey from a couple of years ago. Would you want him?
No,
not so much. I don't. 2 years ago, maybe. Not now.
2 years ago, for sure. The thing that I think will be really interesting to follow is what does he want for his career, and what is he willing to take on in terms of being coached and fitting in? Because I was at the Hall of Fame game when which he was there when the Jets played the Browns when Joe Thomas went into the Hall of Fame. And to say that was the Hall of Fame game, that's the first preseason game of the year, it was abundantly clear then that they gave the keys to the kingdom to him, that nobody answered to anybody other than him. That's it. So, that's what they did. Now, he blows the Achilles. First year back from Achilles. He was actually pretty decent at the start of the season last year and then pretty decent at the end of the season. There's a stretch in the middle where he had some injury and it was pretty bad. But it was decent at the beginning, decent at the end. Is he willing to accept coaching? Is he willing to conform to a different style of offense? One of the beefs with his time with the Jets is he just wanted to run we're the New York Jets. This is our offense, and we want to run West Coast all the time. And the pushback to that is now the way that NFL teams build game plans is week to week. So you build game plans to the defense's weaknesses. And that was something he was unwilling to do, according to all the reporting. I talked to Bob Wischusen earlier this week, who's the voice of the Jets, about exactly this. And he said that was kind of the problem, that he really just wanted to say, we're running West Coast offense. This is who we are. Doesn't matter who we play. We'll execute it better. And what that leads to is a lot of one-on-one shots, a lot of back shoulder throws, a lot of fades. Those are things he thrived in Green Bay, but it's tough to play that way in the league going forward. So something to watch there. To me, the most logical landing spot, and it's the betting favorite, I think, too, is Pittsburgh. If he wants to do that. Now, if he wants to live in a great city and he wants to wear a cool uniform, then obviously the Raiders would certainly be the choice there. There's no weapons with the Raiders, other than Bowers. Bowers is great, but there's nobody on the outside. And that it would seem to fit with Carroll, though, too. I feel like Pete would kind of speak his language a little bit.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things with that. Pete, I think it would work if basically what Mark Davis did was he took money from Tom Brady so that Tom Brady could really run and do the things that Mark Davis feels like he doesn't have any interest in doing, which is a pretty great play on Mark Davis's part because he just kind of gets to sit in his little villain lair and hang out in Las Vegas at, I'm assuming, one of several P.F. Chang's in the area. The Raiders have the 6th pick in the draft, and if they want to get if they're going to have to get a quarterback in free agency. That's just what it feels like the path for the Raiders is. And if at 6 they want to move up and get another weapon, or if a weapon's there for them, then you could turn this thing to a wild card contender pretty quickly if you have the quarterback correct.
I think it would be great if the Vikings let Darnold go, and then somehow in preseason they realize JJ's not ready, and then he just completes the Brett Favre tour and ends up in Minnesota.
I guess you don't have to worry about Rodgers texting anybody anything at all, so it wouldn't be appropriate.
I just did the thing where I just Googled, because I'm trying to think like fits and stuff, and I think I just Googled like, who is the Raiders offensive coordinator? I went, oh, that's right. Chip's there. Chip Kelly is your offensive coordinator with the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Chip, I don't know how that would all work, but I think the fact that Brady is with the Raiders helps. That helps a great deal. As for the Vikings, I think they kind of already have their plan if they want it. They can make J.J. McCarthy the starter and then have Danny Dimes back him up. Or if they can have Danny Dimes start. I know he's a free agent, but they brought him in. They got to look at him. You got to remember, Danny Dimes is on the Vikings practice squad. I meant anybody in the league could have had him if they wanted him, and nobody did. So that's something to watch for on that side of things. We are in what is currently NFL silly season. That will get ramped up at the end of the month when we go to the Combine. We are also in preparation for the NCAA tournament, so we're in bracketology season. NBA All-Star Game is happening. You got the Four Nations happening on the NHL. So this is a really fun. None of this stuff feels like the most important thing in the world, but it's a lot of fun stuff. You got the Daytona 500 this weekend as well. I covered that probably at the apex of it, the death of Dale Sr., and then, the years that followed where NASCAR was at the time like the third most popular sport in the country. It was wild. It's obviously not that anymore.
That, you just mentioned Dale Sr., and that's one of those moments where you always remember where you were when that happened because it was so shocking.
We knew he was hurt bad because of the tone in the pits. And Michael Waltrip won, so we watched his 2 cars win. Waltrip and Junior went 1-2. Mm-hmm. So we watched 2 DEI cars win it. Those are the guys that won it. That would have been the last thing that he saw before he hit the wall. But you didn't know. You knew it was serious, but you didn't think that.
No, because
you did not think that. And I was there, and it was like, I remember like we were like, okay, well, we've got this as kind of the side story, but Michael Waltrip, DEI, they win the 500. And then you started to hear the whispers like, oh, this job just got very different. The covering of this got very different. And then I was there that summer when Dale Earnhardt Jr. won in the first race back at Daytona. And that was as cool a sporting moment that I'll ever have is that. And I was there. Junior won the 500 a couple years later, too. And it's interesting. That's probably the most popular NASCAR has ever been or ever will be, was that stretch.
It was huge back then.
Yeah,
it's the end of senior and then the beginning of junior. Jeff Gordon's still in the middle of it. Jimmy Johnson won the championship every year. Tony Stewart, tons of guys, tons of personalities. It was monster. They tore down the back stands there years ago. I mean, they used to put 250,000 people in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they tore down the back stands because they just couldn't sell it anymore. So it's changed a lot. The NCAA tournament, always changing. The Buckeyes with a big one on Sunday. We'll get a little temperature of where we are bracketology-wise around college basketball with our buddy Mike DeCourcy. That's coming up in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Get President's Day deals all month long at Coughlin Ford. Get a new 2024 Ford F-150 for as low as $37,900. New 2024 Ford Super Duties starting at under $48,000. Or take $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2024 Broncos. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. Ends 3/3/25.
Bands are us. When dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bands are us. When dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Efforting Mike DeCourcy on the college basketball side of things with BTN and Sporting News and everywhere else, an institution around college basketball for 30, 40 years, Mike's been. We had Paul on earlier, and as currently stands, Auburn and Alabama are 1 and 2. Auburn is 1, Bama is 1, and the coaches Auburn and 1 in the AP. The other one is inverted on the other side of it. SEC teams ranked: Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Texas A&M, 5 of the top 10. In the next 10, Kentucky is 15, Ole Miss is 19, Mississippi State is 22. They have put an emphasis on this. And I think one of the things that conference has done that the Big Ten, and I think especially here at Ohio State, can learn from is when you are trying to maintain 36 sports, there is no way that you could do it at the same level as if you're trying to maintain 18. And what they have done is they've chosen the sports that they're going to care about. Some of them make sense, men's and women's college basketball. Baseball makes sense for that region. They care a lot about baseball. Softball makes sense for that part of the country. That makes a lot of sense. And then gymnastics is the other one. I mean, they are you. Livy Dunn is certainly one of the more famous college athletes ever, and one of the absolute just crushed it in NIL. But when you see a video of like LSU gymnastics, it's full. Now, we have that too. You'll see that sometimes too when you see like a men's volleyball match or women's volleyball match. You see sometimes when you'll see a full house for wrestling and those type of things. So it happens here too. It's just different, and it's not necessarily the sports down there. And the one that I think that they've said we are going to be great at this is absolutely men's basketball and women's basketball. They put such an onus on it.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams have done real interesting jobs portaling. Like I think of Alabama and they got an Alabama product, but he had to go, do a year in the MAC and Mark Sears, and just some other teams. Like I think Okpara's playing for Tennessee right now, and so they've been able to kind of mash it all together. And 5 years ago, I think we were talking, or maybe less than that, about just what it was going to be with this name, image, and likeness in portal era, especially in college hoops, because it was so transient even before that. And now it's like, how do you build a success in March? It still feels like the success in March might be a little different than the success in the regular season.
Sure, yeah, and there is no absolute. Talent acquisition matters most. I mean, I think of even the hire of like John Calipari at Arkansas is a fascinating hire. Like Cal was probably towards the end of the line at Kentucky anyway. A lot of early one and dones, and then he parlayed that into a job at Arkansas. He brought 3 of the biggest names in his previous recruiting class at Kentucky with him. Now, he did win at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, but he has not won at that level at Arkansas yet. So then the question becomes, if you're Arkansas, where are we putting our money? And the reality is that if they look at football, and I know they love football the most there, but they got basketball lineage too. Kentucky's the best example of this. Florida's a very good example of this. It's really tough for us to break through in football because it's 85 scholarships and it's a bunch of kids, a bunch of mouths who need to be fed. Conversely, in basketball, we want to be great in basketball. Like, we can put that together pretty quick. A couple of recruiting classes, and you could get it sorted out. I mean, that's one thing that Duke has done. They did it towards the end of Coach K, and they've done it, obviously, with John Shire, where they just get the best class in the country every year.
Bo, you were just talking about Calipari and going to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Last night, before the Buckeye basketball came on, I was moving around, checking out different things, and on Vice, they have a docuseries. It's 6 one-hour episodes. It's called The Razor's Edge, about Calipari and this Arkansas basketball team. And I was like, wow, that this has so much that, and it's Vice. It's, not a huge network, but they're devoting this time to just that move. I thought it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think it's content. Right? Like, you're one of these networks, you're one of these apps, you're a streaming service. Like, you've got to have content. You have to find something that drives audiences. And not everything, obviously, is going to be the Super Bowl. Not everything's going to be about a viral show. But if you can find something that has a niche, then you have to find a way to take advantage of that. And I think college basketball, big picture, is something that is really trying to find its way right now. Let's say this. This is a really fun year in hoops. You're in the mix here. You're currently in or bubbling or however you want to call that. You got Michigan coming in here on Sunday. That's a lot of fun. You've got some fun players to watch. You got local guys like Mobley and Devin who we've known around these parts for a very long time, and that's a whole lot of fun. But in addition to that, around the country, I mean, Cooper Flagg being at Duke is pretty cool. As hateable as they are. Him being great and being the number one pick and validating all of those things and then living up to all of it. He probably will win National Player of the Year, is my guess. And then some of the other talent. You mentioned Sears. I remember texting with Bowles when they got – because Sears was a rocket ship here. He came in right away and was like, oh, my God, this kid is ridiculous. And he was an Alabama kid, and they missed him. I don't know how that happened, but they missed him in the high school recruiting, ends up at OU, and then is dominant right away. And now he has kind of been the poster child for probably modern NIL in the college thing, where you missed a kid, Alabama missed him in recruiting, Bowles finds him, Bowles gets him to OU, then you can't keep him, right? You can't keep him. There's no way, and you understand it. He's an Alabama kid. So he plays 1 year. Alabama sees what he is. Now all of a sudden, I think he's in his 3rd year at Alabama. So he has crushed it NIL-wise over that time and enriched himself more than had he gone pro, because he's not a first-round pick. He's just a really great college player, and there's going to be more and more of those. Baycott was like that at North Carolina, where the other one is the kid at oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. I can see him. The kid who was at Michigan is now at Kansas. The big Hunter Dickinson. He's still playing college basketball. It felt like he played 4 years at Michigan. And he's still at Kansas. Still playing. Like, how long ago was that? He leads Kansas in scoring 16.6 per game, but, like, he's a known commodity. Yeah, I mean, I'm not so far off on this. I just pulled up his career stats. Yeah, he's played 5 seasons of college basketball. He's the last of the COVID guys. He played 3 full seasons at Michigan, and he's in his 2nd full season at Kansas. I mean, all-time point. I mean, he's averaged 14, 18, 18, 18, 17. He's got to be like, he's got 2,600 career points. Hunter Dickinson does. So it's winning, and it's going to win in March. I think it's got a chance to be a monster March tournament. I think there's a lot of known commodities. You think of blue blood teams. I think the Cooper Flagg. If Duke can make a run with that kid, that's something everyone will be paying attention to. And that's the next one for me. This Four Nations thing, we'll see if it takes tonight with Team USA. We'll see. NBA All-Star, I don't care about that. The way
Wemby.
they've bastardized it. Aren't they doing like 4 teams?
Yes.
And they're not doing a dunk the dunk contest are people I've never. They bring the Matt McClung guy back.
Was he 2-time winner?
Yeah, he's won the last 2. But it's not, the stars don't do it. And he's a great dunker. I remember when watching it live the first time he did it and being unaware of his abilities and being blown away by them. And I'm sure I will be when they do it again. But I've kind of lost interest in it. There's going to be a Steph Curry, Sabrina Ionescu 3-point contest, but that's off. So that stinks. So I don't have much interest in that. And I think the fact that the trade deadline's already over, the NBA kind of had its week, and it was with the Luka deal. Daytona, I'll pay a little. It's just one night, and I don't know the guys anymore the way that I did. That sport has fallen so far in the last 15 years, and I don't know if they went to too many cookie cutter tracks or they got rid of the character of the sport. I don't know what exactly it was, but that's something that especially even when I first got to Channel 10 in 07, is you have to do some NASCAR stuff because Central Ohio always rated really high in the Daytona 500 and the Indy 500.
Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano are the favorites. And I don't know. I've not watched a NASCAR event in years.
Yeah.
It's 2:30 Sunday on Fox.
They always screw that up with it being that late.
That's
so if the
weird.
weather happens, there's usually always a thunderstorm. They should start it at noon so they can try and get it in if there is a delay. There's been Daytona 500s have had to finish on Monday because of storms in Daytona.
You should root for Ryan Blaney, Reese, because Blaney is an Ohio guy.
There you go.
All right, go Bucks.
Son of Dave?
That I'm not sure. I know he has a brother named Dale that has done a lot of sprint car or dirt track racing and things like that.
I bet he is. Right? Dave's 62.
I'm just looking at Ryan.
It is.
What is he, the Menards car?
The son of Dave Blaney, third-generation racer.
There you go. Yeah. It was cool, man. It was cool back in the day. Like Richard Petty in the cowboy hat and the Intimidator walking around. Like that there was a moment where that sport had it humming.
It was probably 2018, I would say. I was down in Daytona, and we were eating at a restaurant there, and we were there, and I can't remember if it was the week of the summer race at the time because they used to do the July 4th. It was like the Firecracker 400 or 500 or something.
Yeah, Firecracker originally.
The restaurant we were eating was out on a pier, out under the ocean, and Richard Petty walked in, and it was like the coolest thing in the world, especially down there because racing is so big in Daytona, and like they were shielding everybody off from him. Yeah. He just comes in this big old cowboy hat, and there's no denying who it was.
Coolest dude ever. And so nice. So nice. People always hated like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. They were so nice. Really good dudes. Junior's a really nice guy. Tony Stewart, not the nicest.
Don't you need that villain, though?
You had to have the villain,
I think people always just, whether you didn't like him, you always just appreciated having that jerk.
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah, there was a little bit of that. All right, we'll hit you with 3 things on a Thursday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay, things people love.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse. On The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
One of the things that turned Ohio State on to offering Tavion St. Clair very early in the process, including as early as a late sophomore, Buckeye head coach Ryan Day was asked about what specifically led to his recruitment so early.
Well, first off, he's from Bellefontaine, Ohio, and that is important here. You know, he came in, I think he started coming in as an 8th grader and then came in as a freshman. And then every year he was growing and growing to the point where, you know, he just continued to improve and continue to grow. And you just saw some traits in him that were unique. And, you know, we just felt like he separated himself from the class. And then, you know, from then on, he was, you know, focused on recruiting the class. You could see the leadership skills in him.
This report was brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH Man, I love that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safelight Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelight Repair, Safelight Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Rodeo fans, saddle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, February 15th at Nationwide Arena. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. It's the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What do you have on the poll today?
Daily Fan Poll asks, what do you think of the Ohio State hire of Matt Patricia as defensive coordinator? Love it, like it, meh, hate it are your options. 45% say they like it, 35% say meh, 14% say they love it, 5% say they hate it.
We had Mike Debate on earlier from the Patriot, covers the Patriots for a long time, had some really illuminating stuff on Matt and what his approach would be. You can get that. I know, Reese, we've tweeted out all over our social channels, but obviously anywhere you get your podcast, download, subscribe, like. We appreciate those things too. But just give you a view of how he is viewed by somebody who covered him while he was with New England, and gives you a little bit of a window into why I think when you hear that, you understand what Ryan Day was thinking with the hire of Matt Patricia on that side of things. So I assume we'll get something official relatively soon with an announcement officially of all the new coaches, the new promotions, all of those things. My guess is you'll get one of those pretty soon. But that staff is now finalized. Not officially, but finalized on the Ohio State side of things. All right, time for 3 things on a Thursday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
So the boys are out of school Friday and Monday with President's Day, and then I don't know what. Who knows why they're off, but they just are. And so today is Valentine's Day at their schools. So when I was a kid, this was the reason that you would do. You've heard there's a country song from years ago. Do you like me? Do you love me? Check yes or no. Like that was it. That's what we did. Like you would make a Valentine's box. The one I made that I remember most was in 6th grade. I made Paradise City from the Guns N' Roses album Appetite for Destruction. We made a Valentine's Day hotel, and the idea was the girls would drop the Valentines into the hotel, and then you would do the "Do you like me?" check yes or no. This is a big deal. So to give you an idea of how much things have changed for the old folks out there, the boys now were asked by their teachers to not address the Valentines personally. So it just would say from Parker, from Paxton. So that's how they did it versus, so I'm like, so wait a second, you guys aren't even going to have Valentines? They're like, no, we're not allowed, Dad. So they just send, everyone gets the same Valentine with your name on it. This is what Valentine's Day's become in the schools? What are we doing? What are we doing? We got to get back to getting chicks, man.
Getting chicks.
That's
really what Valentine's Day is about.
That's what it's about.
You have Valentine's Day on the Thursday before or the day before Valentine's Day, but February 14th every year here on out. Let's get chicks.
Get chicks.
What I took from that was Appetite for Destruction. Maybe the best album ever. 10 bangers on that thing.
I mean, side one, track one is pretty tough to beat there.
First thing for me, 15 Buckeyes have received invitations to the NFL Scouting Combine that'll start Monday, February 24th in Indianapolis. It's pretty much everybody you think that should be invited to the Combine is getting invited to the Combine. Also includes for quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel, Riley Leonard, Kyle McCord, Graham Mertz, Curtis Rourke, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward.
After the show yesterday, I had an appointment to get my oil changed, so I drove up to my guy on Westerville Road and got that done. And as I was coming home, I'm heading west on 270 from Route 3. If you know that area of road, it's like 4 lanes wide. And then as you get to 71, there's like 2 lanes that break off to go 71. So you've got like 6 lanes of traffic right there. I know what speed I was going, so some guy passes me in the left lane, going probably about 80 or 85, and then about 10 to 15 seconds after he passes me, he makes almost a 90-degree across all lanes of traffic to get over onto 71. Now, he had his phone in his hand as he went past me, so I'm guessing he really wasn't sure where he was going. But if you do not know where you're going and you're going to miss your exit, rather than take out 4 lanes of traffic and risking that, just go up to the next exit and turn around. It's not going to be that much of an inconvenience to your day.
Good Lord. And also maybe if you don't know where you're going, don't go 90. That's the other part of it that probably ought not to do. Number 2 for me, so last night in the 3rd grade, we had the annual parent-son game, sibling-son game. I love this one. It's so fun for the kids to be able to play in it. The parents actually are incredibly excited to play in it, too. If you ever coach youth sports and you're questioning something to do at the end of the year to have a little fun, do a parent-son game, parent-daughter game. It's awesome. What you will be stunned by is how seriously certain members of the parental grouping take it, to the point where they're rejecting. They're basically altering into Billy Madison. They just are rejecting their kids, stealing it from their kids. Like, no successes for the kids is pretty wild, but it's always fun and it's a win. So if you are on the fence about doing one, my recommendation would be to do it.
We talked about this earlier in the show, but SNL's got a big celebration planned for Saturday, their 50 years in production. The movie Saturday Night that chronicles the very first episode of SNL is available on Netflix if you likely subscribe to that platform. Cousin Greg, the actor, is Nicholas Braun. All 7 of him. He plays Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson, both of those characters in that movie.
Wow.
And his rendition of Andy Kaufman's Mighty Mouse is spot on.
There's also a documentary, I think, on Netflix about SNL as well, kind of leading into it. I wonder how they started. Do they go with like legendary hosts like Tom Hanks, Paul Simon, like guys who have hosted a bunch of times? Or do they have like their best cast members ever? Like, is Eddie Murphy show up? Eddie was only there 1 season, I believe. And Chevy, like, is Chevy Chase? I would think he would be there. Bill Murray, like, who are the guys who they lead it off with? I look forward to it. It'll be great. The 40th was good. I'm guessing this one they crushed too.
So we're about a month away from state tournaments in the winter sports for the OHSAA. And when hockey and girls basketball and boys basketball coming up, I've been starting to pay a little more attention to the high school Twitters and paying attention just to kind of have a general idea for the broadcast coming up. And I saw this from Pickerington North earlier this week. They released their 2025 football schedule. Week 1 at Baldwin Wallace College, taking on Lakewood St. Ed's. Week 2 up in Cleveland at St. Ignatius. And then week 3, the crosstown rivalry against Pickerington Central. 3 of the most storied programs recently in Ohio high school football history. Bold strategy, Cotton.
They must be loaded. All right, you don't do that unless you're loaded. To play that schedule, you must be loaded.
They've got a good quarterback, DB that's going to OU, so they've got a couple dudes.
You got to have dudes.
That's so ambitious. Good luck.
Yeah, that is. So I mean, you got to know you have a squad.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Number 3 for me. So Buddy Garrity we were told Buddy Garrity had an ear infection. So my wife takes him to the vet, and now she is telling me that he is allergic to chicken. I had dogs my whole life.
Thoughts and prayers.
At times they eat chicken, like actual live ones. I had one that did that. So like I just don't believe it. I don't think it's possible for a golden retriever to be allergic to chicken. I'm sure he is. Like I don't think they're trying to sell me something, but it just seems impossible to me, knowing what he eats and the idea that chicken would be the problem.
Dogs will eat cat poop like it's a
deer
delicacy.
Poop, their own. I mean, there's no end to it. But somehow chicken is a problem. I don't know.
How often do you? I'll make this my third thing. How often do you clean his ears?
Probably not enough.
Is
the answer.
Every other day with Odie. Like,
are you really?
It gets bad in the winter. Yeah, you get wipes or flushing. There's fluid you can buy because it got to a point where we're paying like $100 every month going to the vet to have them use the medicated wipe. So just save yourself the trouble. Take the time.
Might solve it. I'll do that every other day. That's good to know.
Last thing for me, it's a Gold Jacket Thursday on Rothman and Ice today. They will talk to former Super Bowl champion and San Francisco 49er Bryant Young.
There you go. You got that to look forward to, which is very nice. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, buddy. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Question from a listener. Do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
There are some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a large unexpected inheritance. An always on the verge of death phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone. Up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard so you can get a new one. Just trade in any phone from our top brands on any unlimited plan. With new line on My Plan. Additional terms apply for trade-in and pay off your phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey friends, Beamer here. I got an update for you. Last week, 42 pounds in 8 weeks. If you're waiting on this week's results, it has been 9 weeks and I'm down 46 pounds, all thanks to my friends over at Awaken 180. To be honest with you, everything just kind of has changed. I feel better. I'm less lethargic. I look forward to getting up in the morning. I even look forward to running around with Willie at home, outside, all kinds of good stuff. It's been tremendous. And the secret to my success, it hasn't been a breakthrough, but my coach, Natalie, she has been awesome. She tells me what to eat. She tells me when to eat it, which has really been nice for me. Big games, we know this last month has been crazy. She has been the health guru that I need. And also I'm not snoring, so I'm sleeping better, which makes sense for all the energy that I have now. If you've ever thought that weight could be a problem for you, or if you're thinking about addressing it, let my friends at Awaken 180 tell you and show you how to do it. Let them show you how easy it is and give them a call. That's Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at Awaken 180.